astronauts to the moon.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Houston, we have a problem.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue.
What you're seeing here is a mirage.
I don't know what's going on. I don't know why I don't have sound.
We're on the air, though. At least not on my screen.
Oh, you're not on the air? I thought we were. Let me check.
Say on the air.
I tried doing a live stream and it died 3 times.
Oh, no. I know what you're looking at, Rob. You're looking at the Hangout. I'm actually going live from OBS.
OBL.
So I'm just using the Hangout just to get your guys' video piped through. So
Gotcha.
hopefully, let me check and make sure everybody can hear us okay. Say something, Rob.
Okay, can you hear me? Check. Can you hear me?
Can everybody tell us if there is sound? Please let me know. We're waiting here. There is sound now. All good here. Okay, so everybody can hear you. All right. Well, I guess there was no sound at the beginning. So this is Jaron from Jeranism. Here with another live video for you. I was supposed to be down there at the Salton Sea, and unfortunately, Missa got sick. So she's in bed recovering. But these guys are down there. So tell us what you guys are doing, Rob.
Well, we're all just kind of hanging out here right now, waiting for the skeptics to get ready. They are down there, the camera equipment and the boat. And as I understand it, there's some sort of balloon target of some sort on the other side that they are going to be trying to see with their camera equipment.
Nice. And that's...
the sun came up about, I don't know, half hour ago maybe. And it's already starting to get warm out here, so they better hurry up.
And what is the distance that they're doing? It's a little over 9 miles?
Hey, Mark, do you know the distance? It's like 6 miles, isn't it?
9.
Oh, it's 9.
9, but I don't know what point. It's not 9. That's 3. I think 9 is down there.
Oh, okay.
So
maybe that doesn't look like 9.
That's definitely not 9. So maybe
it's got to be that way.
Like that. Maybe that tip before it gets those two little.
Yeah, maybe.
Things, but the whole.
What is the name where you're at, Rob? We'll look at a map here in a second.
What's that?
So what's the name of the place you're at? Because I'm going to pull up a map here in a second.
Oh.
See, it's Mecca.
But we're at the park. So
yeah, you got to look up the recreational park at the Salton Sea.
Yeah.
Recreational park?
I can tell you, it's 100 State Park Road,
Okay.
Mecca, California, 92254.
Okay, 100 State Park Road. I'm going to bring up Google Earth here. Nathan, what's new?
Oh, I just drove in from Kentucky for the meetup and the experiment. No big deal. 2,000 miles.
Oh, geez. Make me feel like a loser.
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I go to Flat Earth meetups all the time, and people are like, "Oh, it's an hour away. I couldn't make it." And I'm like, "I drove from California to your meetup."
I flew to South Korea, right?
It's an hour away. You can't make it. So it's all good. We know who the diehard Flat Earthers are.
Oh, dude,
and you're one of them.
There was a guy.
Misses off the list.
From his appendix operation.
Oh, yeah.
He had an operation
this
2 hours early.
Oop, may have lost you here 1 second. I'm trying to pull up this. And
Like, dude, don't. I don't want this stuff. He just came from laparoscopic surgery. To show
on the floor.
It was amazing. He pulls up his shirt. I'm going, there it is, fresh scar.
Yeah. Oh, pretty crazy.
That is too funny.
Yeah, but it was nutty.
You still there?
yeah, I was turning off my phone. It keeps going off here.
Oh, okay.
And I'm looking up the location.
How'd you get snacks?
That's Nat Geo right there.
Where's they? Oh, again.
You have a food and crafts table?
They got Gatorade and stuff. They'd probably give me one.
No.
They'll give me one if I say, "Can I have a Gatorade from Mark Sargent?"
And what's the story with the boat there? What are they doing with the boat? That's for later or something?
Do you know what their plans are with the boat?
They're gonna put a big flag on it. The flag's over there on the ground. It's right by the picnic table. It's about 6 feet by 6 feet, maybe 6 by 8. And they're gonna put it on the back of the dinghy, and they're gonna put the dinghy off to shore and see basically how far we can
See how far they can see the
It's
flag.
another sight distance experiment.
that little electric
And
motor.
what do you know, Nathan, about the balloon thing that they're putting up on the other side? That's supposed to be 25 feet by 25 feet?
25 feet by 25 feet, and it's like the mylar aluminum foil stuff they use to get through the thermosphere, the protective metal.
Oh, right, like the Echo satellite. The Echo satellite went 1,000 miles.
Yeah.
That one.
Looks like an aluminum grocery bag. They got a big 5-foot by 25-foot one on the other side, and they're pumping it up right now. I think that's what we're waiting for. I don't know. I'm letting them do the experiment because we've already done this experiment a million thousand times.
Flat Earth literally wrote the book on this type of experiment. We know all the tricks. It should not be shot on warm weather. It should be cold weather.
Don't do it at sunset.
Yeah, they tried to do this experiment 2 months ago, and it kept getting postponed. Probably because Mark couldn't be here.
Probably.
But
well, no, because initially they were gonna. No, I think it just got postponed.
Yeah.
Because I said I wasn't gonna come to this thing because we've done this test. For the last 3 years, Flat Earth has done this test how many times?
Yeah, it would have been better in March or in April.
Yeah,
for sure.
Better. I'm not saying it's optimum conditions, but but still, there's no curve. So it's not like it's just because it's hot, it's going to look like there's 40 feet of curvature.
And you said you're in the city of Mecca?
Down there.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, all those islands. I mean, as soon as this starts
those aren't
heating
even
up,
islands. That's just it. I think they're just part of the land mass.
That's mountains right there, probably.
No, those yeah.
That right there.
I don't know. They're mountains?
They're mountains in the distance.
Oh, okay.
So you live around here? Oh.
Hey, does anyone live around here?
Well, yeah, this is a pretty rough place to live here.
And you're in Mecca, right? That's the name of the place? Mecca?
Mecca? Yeah, this is Mecca, right?
Okay.
The name of this place.
I'm going to try and add the little map here. It's going to be small, though, I think. Let's see here.
It's pretty scary. Like it's like the Bates Motel kind of scary. The areas. Well, I don't know if you can see it over there, out that way, but it's pretty desolate. I mean, it's literally a ghost town out here.
So
You see all this?
Yep. And I brought up the map right now, so you guys are at 100 State Park. If people can see, I'm kind of going through the map. It's in the lower left-hand side of the screen, I believe. So they're at 100 State Park. It looks like they went down at the end of this little trail here. So you guys are right at 100 State Park. Oh, you're next to the parking lot? Is that where you guys are?
Yeah, this is the parking lot for the rec center.
Okay, I see it. So you're here, and then we know we're going 9 miles. We just don't know what direction.
Correct.
Okay, let me draw a line here. So yeah, it looks like 9 miles. They'd be going across right over here, over by Desert Shores, possibly. Looks like there's another little city town over there or something.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either. So this looks like where they're at, guys. This is the Salton Sea. We'll just save that for now. I drew a line. That's 9 miles there, straight across here. Make sure people can see what I'm doing. Yeah, that's good. Make this a little bigger, actually. There we go. I like this a little bigger. Weather looks nice.
Yeah, it's gorgeous right now, but the sun is getting hotter. I mean, it was like 68 when we got here, and already it's got to be pushing close to 80. And on when I did a weather.com on this, it was saying it's going to get to about 108. So
Wow, that's always fun.
Definitely not good conditions.
No, they got to do it. They got to do it now, and nobody's on the other side that we know of.
Oh, you know, I think there are some people on the other side that are doing whatever setup over on that side. That's what it sounded like.
Are there any flat earthers?
Oh yeah, right here.
No. I mean at the other side.
Oh, on the other side. Mark, do you know if there are any flat earthers on the other side or not?
He's the moderator for the official Flat Earth and Globe discussion. Let me plug that one. Dallas is over there with our buddy Jason. And you know what? I should actually call him and find out what's going on with the
Hey,
balloon.
Nathan, I have the map up. So if you tell me what direction they are, or which compass direction, we can figure out where we're looking.
Okay, I'm gonna guess because the sun rises in the east, sets in the west. They're directly west of us right now. That's my guess because the sun just came up over there.
Okay, so they could be going this way. Let me move my map
Okay,
in here.
he just said they're about to get lifted up. Is there already air in the balloon, or is you're pumping it up right now? Is the balloon already pumped up? They're both pumped up. There's two of them. All right, interesting. Can you take a couple pictures and send them to me? I'm gonna show them on Jaren's live.
Or
video
does he have an address where he's at?
Hey, do you have an address where you're at?
Oh, maybe you could do a pin share or something.
Can you do a pin share and then also take a couple pictures of the balloons that you're looking at and shoot them over to me?
I'm just trying to see here if there's any beach that they could be
I'm
at.
so happy there. Thanks for being there. All right, cool. I'll wait for those pics.
What's that, Mark?
We're only an hour behind schedule at this point. And it's
Does anyone
gonna
have
get
portable
worse
batteries?
before it gets better.
Anybody else? Can you
feel the heat?
Yeah.
Wow,
I feel the
you
heat.
gotta remember, it was 104 yesterday.
I mean, it's 6:30 in the morning. I can
Yeah.
feel the sun on my
Yeah.
back right now.
I saw
Come
it's
on.
projected to like 111 on Tuesday or Wednesday.
Oh man,
That's like
this is gonna. It is
dangerous, Jenner.
798 Capri Drive,
798 Capri Drive.
Thank you much.
Thermal, California.
All right,
Thermal?
Thermal. Yeah,
Thermal.
yeah, the zip.
That's a weird name for a 108 degree temperature place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Zip is 29947
So we're at
Or
798 Capri.
Drive or Capri Road.
Capri and thermal. Yeah, okay, got it. Let me see here. Where it's oh, I was closer the first time. Okay, let me draw a line there from here across. Oops, don't do that. And you guys are right here. So we're looking. Oops, I gotta go to the shore, not there. Yeah, almost 10 miles.
Jaren, can you see the picture of the balloon that I'm holding up?
Nope, 1 second. Let me get back over there. Where am I? Yeah, hold it up on the other side of the screen, the other side of the camera. That's where my map is. There you go.
Okay. Boom, you see it?
Is that 2 balloons?
Yeah.
They got 2 balloons and they're lifting up this aluminum foil wrapping type thing. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Oh.
Where's the so the aluminum foil thing is supposed to be the reflective thing or whatever?
Exactly. Yeah.
I was gonna say the balloons are strategically the same color as the sky.
Well, the backdrop's mountains, so I think we should still be able to see them. I mean, I don't think those are going to go higher than 15 or 20 feet.
Can you, Rob, show us the viewing party again? What is their height down at the beach?
You know, what cameras are you going to be shooting with? Those over there?
What's that?
What's your camera height for what you're going to be shooting on this side?
4 feet, I think.
About 4 feet on your tripod?
I think it's 4
tripod?
feet. Yeah.
Is that where you're shooting from right there?
I'm not doing it, but they're down over there.
Yeah,
Oh.
I believe the Celestron's 4 feet off.
Oh,
the
okay.
ground.
The
So-
Celestron.
Okay.
I'm Rob.
Hi, Rob. I'm Justin Gunn.
Justin, nice to meet you.
Yeah. No. Okay. This is one of the.
I'm the one that proved that Chicago is not a mirage.
Yeah, he did that. Okay, great.
Yes, he did.
Most well respected. You want to talk on camera real quick, Rob?
Oh,
he's
busy.
Sure.
When
We're
you're
doing. Yeah.
I'll take care. I'll take care.
Okay.
Jaren, I got the live stream now.
Woohoo!
Rob, I'm gonna get Rob doing an interview for you guys real quick, okay?
That's awesome. I'm gonna take these down off the screen here.
I want you to feel it looks good.
Have you said hi to Patty yet, Trisha?
I did earlier. I don't know if we had the sound on though. Sound wasn't working to start off.
But it's obviously going in a straight line.
So that's Aaron Krishock. He had a video go viral talking about Flat Earth. This is Sasha. They're part of the LA Flat Earth community.
Oh, I think I met them.
You've met Sasha and Aaron before, Jaren?
Yeah,
We met
Yeah.
Jaren in
Pasadena, Palm Spring. No,
I'm saying.
Palmdale.
I always say it's a small flat world after all.
Palmdale is the name of the place, not Palm Springs.
you end up running into people over and over again, and it's always great. Wish you were here.
Same
Yeah.
flat earthers all the time.
Yeah, if you're dealing with some family stuff, Jaren, I keep you in my prayers, bro. We all love you.
Hey, no problem. No, she's doing better. She hasn't thrown up since Thursday night, so it's not that bad.
I'm gonna jam over here and get Rob doing his interview
Jeez.
real quick, okay?
Yeah, I'm trying to get this map thing working. I can't get it here. What's going on?
We've been doing tests like this for the last 3 years, so I'm excited to see other people. Even if you're doing it as a skeptic, I mean, because frankly, we all started that way. Not one of us came in going, yeah, I think I want to be a flat earther. We all came in kicking and screaming and totally against the idea.
Can you just watch the light?
Yes, of course, sir.
Yeah, no worries. So tell me again who you are and what your affiliation is.
Okay, well, Rob Skiba and my affiliation in what sense?
Do you have a specific website or
okay, yeah, Testing the Globe. Yeah, Testing the Globe.
Tell me that one more time.
My name is Rob Skiba, and I have a website, testingtheglobe.com.
Okay, great. What's your history with flat Earth? Where did it start for you?
Well, it started with a friend of mine coming up and asking me to go to dinner with him, and we're sitting in conversation, and he says, "Hey, Rob, how does water bend?" I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Well, how does water bend?" I'm like, "Water doesn't bend." He said, "Well, the Earth is a globe, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He said, "And the curve is 8 inches per mile squared, roughly." Okay. So how is the Pacific Ocean, for example, bending 8 inches per mile squared? I'm like, gravity? I don't know. You know, but that thought kind of stayed in my head. I'm like, because that didn't really make sense to me. I'm like, if it's gravity, then that would mean that the gravity is, water's heavy. It's like, what, 8 pounds per gallon or something like that? Like, that's regular water. I don't know what salt water is. I think that's
Good point.
right?
I haven't heard that. Good point.
At any rate, it's heavy. Now, so I'm thinking, okay, so all of that weight, all of that mass would have to be pulled down 8 inches per mile squared, which seems to me then it would have to be pulling harder for the deeper part of the ocean than it would for more shallow. So how does it know? You know, I mean, these are the thoughts that start going through your head. And, you know, that was the beginning of it. And then I ended up hearing an hour-and-a-half interview that Mark Sargent did on Canary Cry Radio. It's a podcast that I like to listen to, friends of mine. And, you know, I listened to it an hour and a half, and in the beginning of it, I'm rolling my eyes like, this is stupid, this is crazy, what the heck, is this an April Fool's joke? And then by the end of it, I'm kind of thinking, shoot, some of that made a little bit of sense. So I had to listen to it again. So I listened to it again. I was on a long drive. On the way back, I listened to it again. And then I watched Mark Sargent's Flat Earth Blues videos. And at the end of the videos, he always had his phone number and contact information. So I'm like, I'm going to call this guy. So that was Monday, April 13th, 2015. April 15th, I have a podcast also. I had him on my radio show that Wednesday. And during the show, at some point, either at the end of it or afterwards, he said, okay, Rob, you believe in the globe, I can get it. Prove it. But prove it without using NASA, the government, or the military. Well, why would he say that? Because all of the sources that we have for the globe come from NASA, the government, or the military. So, of course, I didn't do that. We've all seen the pictures. I grew up, I had a wallpaper of the moon surface with the Earth in the background. And I'm like, I grew up with that my whole life. I've seen that. We also see Apollo 17. That was actually superimposed over the moon surface. So I started looking into all that, and you start seeing words like composite or CGI or something that tells you that what you're looking at is not an actual snapshot of the Earth. So I'm like, what the heck? Then I go to JPL, or Jet Propulsion Laboratory's website, and I see what's supposedly a 25-hour time-lapse video of the Earth in full rotation, except none of the clouds are moving. So I'm looking at this Earth, this blue marble, spinning in 25 hours rotation, but none of the clouds have changed. This is supposedly of the Galileo space probe about 1 million miles out in 1990. So I'm like, I'm a filmmaker, so I mean, I've done time-lapse before. You can just put your camera out, point it at the sky for an hour, and you can see the clouds doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Yet in 25 hours, the Earth, there was no cloud movement. So that was the beginning of lots of questions for me.
Let me ask you this: you're clearly very thoughtful, and you exhibit these really strong qualities of skepticism about the notion of a round globe Earth. How is your skepticism of a globe model of Earth? How does that differ from the skeptics that are out here today?
It doesn't, because I started out doing what you do. What you're doing right now is what I started out doing. I'm wearing the shirt, Chicago. It's not a mirage, right? Because shortly after I got into this guy named Joshua Nowicki snapped a picture of Chicago from the other side of Lake Michigan, like 50 or 60 miles away. And that shouldn't be possible according to the curvature map. So a friend of mine, Rick Hummer, lived in the same area where that picture was taken, and the local ABC News affiliate ran story on it. The weatherman, probably seen the video, says, what you're seeing here is a mirage. And of course, if you look at the picture, the buildings are perfectly straight up and down symmetrical. They're not wavy, distorted, they're not inverted. All the typical things you would expect to see with a mirage. So the weatherman says it's a mirage. Rick says, dude's crazy, man. He's like, I look across the lake all the time. We all see it. We all see Chicago. I said, all right, man, this should be easy enough to debunk. Because if it is a mirage, let's just get in a boat. Let's go out there on a clear day when we can see the other side, and we can see Chicago, and just drive through the city. Because if it's a mirage, then it should magically disappear, and then the city should roll up over the wall. If it's not a mirage, then the city's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's part and parcel of this ride.
Yeah.
Is there
Got a live.
Is there a biblical way between flat Earth and?
Well, that's the other side. Okay. I consider myself a Bible believer. So, when I started looking into the scriptures, well, you don't get very far. Chapter 1 of the first book, Genesis chapter 1. And if you read Genesis chapter 1 without preconceived bias, and that's the problem. That's why, why didn't I pick up on this before? Right? I mean, reading the Bible my way. Well, I apply my own preconceived bias of the globe that I saw since kindergarten onto the text. In fact, as before 2015, I would have told you the Bible tells you Earth's globe. Isaiah 40:22, circle here, circle. Isaiah is actually the only guy in the Bible who used the word for a sphere, ball, but I think it's in Isaiah 20:18, I believe it is. So he's the guy who knows the difference between a ball and a circle. When it came to describing the Earth, he didn't use ball. The Hebrew word doer. He used the Hebrew word truth. Circle. So, okay, I'm in Genesis chapter 1, and I'm not getting very far, and I'm like, this thing in no way supports a spinning globular heliocentric Earth in an ever-expanding universe. In fact, it's just the opposite. When you take every single scripture reference that describes the cosmos, the Earth, all of it, you end up with a circular still flatter set on pillars under a dome within which the sun, moon, and stars are placed on day.
How widespread is that philosophy or that understanding within sort of the broader religious and biblical community?
It's not. In fact,
Can you just tell me that as a complete sentence?
Yeah, sure. This is not a popular view with Christians or Bible-believing anybody. In fact, most of them would say that I'm crazy, that I'm a heretic, and they would kick me out of any fellowship that it would be in because they love to hang on to their spinning ball. But the Hebrew text doesn't support it. The Greek text doesn't support it. The English translation of it doesn't support it. So, and I put out hundreds of videos at this time, on my YouTube channel. I probably got at least 150 videos. And most of them are between an hour and a half to 3 hours long. So
We love you, Rob.
spent a lot of time looking into this. And it's not something that I wanted to embrace, frankly. But why would anybody wake up one day and say, let's see, what can I think? What can I do today that would make people hate me, ridicule me, call me every name in the book, kick me out of every fellowship, make my life completely miserable? I know, let's say I'll become a flat earther. I didn't wake up thinking that. It was never, something that I wanted. But after you started doing tests like this, everything you started doing started coming up flat. So I'm actually excited you guys are out here. We started out like you.
What do you think is going to happen here today? What's your best prediction?
Well, my prediction is, after watching the weather, it's been over 100 degrees out here. It's already getting close to that. The sun's getting higher. You guys are going to see exactly what you're hoping to see. You're going to see distortion that's going to lead you to believe there's curvature because of refraction. The best time to do a test like this is use faith. On ice with you. When the sun starts heating this place up, this thing's been heating, this lake has been heating up every day, about 107 degrees for at least a week now. So, I suspect you're going to see exactly what you're looking for. You're going to see what you perceive as evidence of curvature, but that's not what it is. But science is testable, observable, repeatable. So what you need to do is repeat this test again in a colder temperature. That's a better evidence. But hey, we all start out this way.
So no matter what you see here today, probably not going to sway you.
I'm just saying, I would flip that. Probably not going to sway you. you're going to find that doing a lot of these tests, it's going to be inconclusive if you're critical thinking. If you are going in with confirmation bias and you're like, I want to prove the globe, well, you're going to see something that proves the globe. If you say, I want to see proof flat, well, you're going to try to bend the information to fit what you want. You have to do the test repeatable. You have to have repeatable results in different weather conditions, and then you have to do it. So, I mean, we just did it. We as the Flat Earth community did a test. What was it? Salton? 40 miles. Well, it was 40 kilometers. I think it's in Hungary. Something. I don't know. But have you heard about that? Anyway, they did a laser test.
Yeah, that's my card. Okay, well, we got it though.
Oh, well.
Thank you, brother.
Well, off there, here, anyway, they just did a laser test. And if I understand, and I wasn't there, so, but if I understand what happened is they were shooting for 40 kilometers. I think they actually got 20 kilometers. And somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. But from what I understand, actually, they got a Guinness World Record for a long distance laser shot terrestrial. Which, if that's true, if they did get certified, because they had people there to watch what they're doing and check everything, then Guinness may have just validated, debunked it. Well, I mean, you shouldn't be able to see it.
Yeah.
And actually, I'm on a live hangout here with Jaron Campanella. He has the YouTube channel Jeranism. One of the things that was early in my investigation was I saw a video that this guy did where he did a 4-mile lake shot with a laser, and the laser is like 6 inches above the ground, and they're seeing it from 4 miles away. Well, do the math, 8 inches per mile squared, you shouldn't be able to see that. So
cool, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for taking the time. Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm sure we'll check back in with you later.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Well, to a skeptic about everything but the globe.
Yeah.
So I guess you get to pick and choose what you're skeptical over,
Well, yeah. I mean, as it's getting warmer and warmer, they're going to see exactly what they want to see, I think.
Well, you can already see when you look down there. You can see the mirror effect. It's already starting to happen. See those little land masses down there?
Yeah.
It's already starting.
Yeah. Was it? There was a. I've used it. A number of other YouTubers have used it. The footage on that lake was a time lapse of a reservoir.
Yeah.
Where it's going. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like the town is drinking every hour.
The deluge that happened.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was the big thing that convinced me is like, okay, you're seeing.
That was the Skunk Bay.
Skunk Bay, yeah. Where the water like goes all the way up over the trees on the other side, So either that town is getting flooded several times a day, or we're looking at miraging and other kind of atmospheric distortion.
You want to know how to do this test right? I'll tell you. You can look it up. It wasn't even my test. Type in YouTube, flat Earth 7.53 miles freezing. That was the white team.
Oh yeah.
It went on the other side of the lake. The lake had just started ice up on the edges.
Yeah.
And he put his camera on the ice. She put the flashlight on the ice. 7.53. Done. That was it. He shot the whole thing. Perfect. They could see the flashlight perfectly. They were on cell phones talking to each other, recorded the whole thing. That's how you do this test. You do not. If you want to ignore our videos, that's fine. But don't start from scratch.
Well, hey, to be fair, like I said in the interview I just did, we all started out this way.
Yeah. But learn from us.
Don't do it just once either. Don't say, hey, okay, we didn't see it on the other side, so that's curvature.
And
right.
Of course, doing this for the first time. This is okay. We're gonna do it the first time, and we're gonna have Nat Geo film it from 3 different angles.
I learned my lesson the hard way on that one.
There you go. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah, don't wait. It's like, it looks great on paper. What could possibly go wrong?
Right.
What could go wrong?
I've got this all done. It's easy test.
Yeah.
I'm gonna walk down there to the camera site.
That'd be awesome. I'm gonna give people the URL of the, because I guess the people that are down there are international skeptics or something, right? Isn't that what they?
Yeah, I think that's the name of the group, IIG or something like that.
Yeah, let me bring up the page so people can see that. This is the web page for the international. Let's see, am I saying this right? No, I'm sorry, it's independent. My bad. The Independent where am I at? Independent Investigations Group, and you can go to iighq.org/index.php/investigations, and the first one that comes up is the Earth Curvature Test, June 10th, talking about this Salton Sea Earth Curvature Test, basically saying that they will be, and here's the line that you see me drawing on the Google Earth that's on the screen, and they have it down as 9.61 miles across. I have it a little bit more, 9.88. We'll check that again. But it says, according to the Earth Curvature Calculator, from a viewing point of 4 feet above the waterline on one shore, an object 34.2 feet tall will be obscured on the far side of the lake, even if atmospheric conditions adjust these numbers slightly one way or the other. We should see clearly which prediction proves more accurate. So that's what they're doing. Now let's head back over to Rob.
I'm down at the shoreline. And this is some of the equipment. Can you see all this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, the little telescope there. I see that.
Yeah. They got a camera down low, and then this one here, about 3 or 4 feet.
Look through the telescope. Tell me what you see, Rob. Will they let you?
Let's see.
We're going to live vicariously through you.
Well, I can see the other side, but I don't know what's on the other side to look at.
Can you see where they're the shore?
I can see what looks like the shore, yeah.
Huh.
There goes a truck, Newman, a white truck on the
Yeah.
road.
Man, I wish I could.
Can you see the
I wonder if I could put my
highway
camera.
Yeah, try
lens
it.
on.
This is awesome.
Do you see anything?
I can't say that I do. I think try and get a little more squared. Looks like we're looking into the side of the eyepiece. You probably can't see that of the camera. I don't think you can. Let's see. No, I don't. Not that I can tell.
Can't hold it steady enough.
Can't win them all.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's on the other side, but you know, I could see.
So where is this balloon that they're putting up? The telescope's not pointed at it yet.
Is the balloon on the other side of this?
Yeah.
Okay, so it hasn't gone up yet, has it?
It went up once and we couldn't locate it.
Oh. And it looks like it got a couple of Nikon P900s here. So I'm gonna get out of here.
Well, can you guys get it up higher than?
The preferred camera of flat earthers.
Can you imagine how much money we've made for them?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should get royalties from Nikon. Pulling ships back over the curve since 2015. Nikon. and the chemtrails have started already too, by the way. I don't know if you can see that.
So some people in the chat are asking, so just letting them know what they're doing. So they're at the Salton Sea. Does it smell like dead fish there, Rob?
Actually, it doesn't smell too bad. Right?
Okay, that's good. Salton Sea, which used to be part of the Pacific Ocean through the Gulf of... Yeah, it used to be through the Gulf of Mexico there, and then I believe that the Colorado River kind of left a bunch of crap that closed it off there, so it doesn't connect anymore. And then I think it got mixed with so much fresh water or something that they said the fish started dying there or something. That's my limited amount of knowledge about the Salton Sea. But it is the largest lake in California. I know that. So they're there. They're looking across the water from about 9.6 miles. I have 9.8. They have 9.6. And they're trying to locate right now a large balloon, which is weird because they don't even see the balloon. The balloon's holding the reflective thing, right, Rob?
Sorry?
I said the balloon... Didn't they say the balloon is lifting up some sort of reflective thing?
I think so.
Yeah.
What happened is that I just asked Jim if they lifted it above what the supposed curve should be, and he said yes, and they still couldn't find it. So right now they're being pretty cool. They're not sure if it's the mirage of the double mirror that's hiding it, or they just can't find it at all. So.
The second one.
And we for sure see what's behind him.
What's behind them?
What's behind them on the other side?
To make sure we're seeing in the right direction and everything.
My camera's down really, really low.
Okay, that's yours.
And I was able to catch a white building over here right above the mirror line. It looks like a shoreline, but I didn't know the altitude of that building, so you know, I'm gonna wait for the boat.
I could look for you. You think it's a white building? You said?
Yeah, yeah.
Because I've got Google Earth up here.
gonna.
Yeah, I'll send you a position. I can send you a snapshot of our exact location.
Okay.
Or how would I send it to him? Or
Uh,
can I send it to you?
Maybe you can just show us.
Well, is that the 798 Capri?
798 Capri is the address.
Over there, I mean.
Can you see her phone?
Salton Sea State Recreation Area.
Oh no, I got your spot. Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're looking. I'm not sure if we're looking this way or this way. That's the problem too. He said it was 9.61 miles.
Okay, let me see if I can find that
That'll
better.
be a longer part then.
9.61. You said. Oops. What did I do?
Mm-hmm.
9.61.
9.61.
Okay, let me pull this back to here. Let me get this one at the shore.
There's one 94th, 84th Avenue, and
I must be in the wrong spot for you guys because I keep coming up with 9.8 miles.
really,
That's what I'm seeing, but I don't know. I can't figure out where you guys are exactly. Are you? There's a parking lot. Oh, maybe this parking lot. Okay, I was at the wrong parking lot. Measurements.
Yeah, there are a couple of different parking lots, so I'm not sure which one.
it's the Salton Sea State Recreation Area. And it's kind of like at the top right side of the Salton Sea.
Let me look at your camera again. Make sure I'm looking through the same thing here.
So it's the top right side.
Yeah, we got that. But there's like a couple parking lots there, and I can't see if we're at the right one.
We're at the one farthest south. Farthest south.
Okay, farthest south. Yeah, I see that
Or
one. So there's like a little inlet right in between that, right next to that.
Yeah, it looks like we're on the south side of the inlet. It looks like at least.
Okay.
Well, actually, it says we're in the ocean.
Well, let me spin this around so people can see what we're looking at. So yeah, so he's talking about they're on the south side of this inlet here. Okay, so let's bring this over. Oops, now I gotta adjust this again. So we're gonna bring this over here, this parking lot.
We're just.
Shoot.
There's a circle right. I'd be real interested to see the altitude of that building.
Yeah.
So you're looking at the, and then do you know the direction you're looking? Or the like compass direction?
It's got to be roughly west, southwest, maybe.
See, the weird thing is like this Google Earth. I don't know if you could. It's like showing the water going way too high. It shows the water, maybe where it used to be or something. Because there's like all this land is underwater. What is this all about? Why is it showing like that?
Hey, Jaren.
Yeah.
I got another guy here showing me something.
Okay.
Can you see this?
Yeah. Now, where are they looking down there?
So we are here.
Right.
We're here at the North Shore.
Gotcha.
And then looking southwest, that's where the target is, about 9.61 miles away.
Right. Now, she said that she saw some white building over there, so I was going to look at what the altitude is, but everything looks like it's underwater according to Google Earth.
I have a video of it. I can show which direction.
Okay, the direction is roughly 220 degrees.
Let me see here.
Southwest.
Southwest. 220.
220 southwest. Let me spin this around then.
Level it?
Yeah.
All right, I just saw a truck go by, Newman.
If I point it straight at that white building, it's
210, 211, 211 degrees.
Okay, let me just put a compass over that overlay.
And if you guys have a better experiment for us, because we are starting out, I'm a new flat earther.
Oh, you're a new flat
Give us
earther.
a good
Oh.
experiment. Yeah, I'll do it.
Are you with them or are you independent?
I just asked him to oversee my experiment.
Oh.
And he came up with the idea to do it at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So, synchronicity.
So you came out here as a flat earther to do this.
Yeah, that's why mine's really good.
Yeah, that's why yours is on the ground. That's why the flat earthers is on the ground. Okay, confidence, right? Confidence. Flat earthers on the ground, 4-foot skeptic. 4-foot skeptic, flat earther on the ground.
Oh, we're being generous.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I chose to put it down because then I would see more curves closer up if there was a curve. Right?
Well, yeah, the curvature math is if your eyeball is on the ground, basically.
And I felt
So you have to adjust for it if the higher up you go.
That's the 8 inches per mile.
Correct.
Squared.
Yeah.
Yeah, that way I don't have to go out there where it's getting all miragey and hopefully.
Yeah, we want to give a fair shake of the idea.
I
Yeah.
actually don't know. Do the mirages start? Like, what mile do the mirages start, or are they always there?
Well,
not a fixed thing.
no, it's going to vary on temperature conditions and.
So then we need a better experiment. And if you
Well,
guys can suggest one, I'll
really the
suggest
best.
it, guys, and then-
I mean, if you guys have been following the flat Earth movement, if you will, lots of us have been doing this, and we found that the best time to do it is in cold, obviously.
Oh, in the cold.
Cold.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why we wanted to get started early in the morning.
Yeah.
We're running a bit behind schedule.
Well, hey, that's what happens. Actually, I applaud you guys, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ross Blocker, also
Ross.
with the Oh No Ross and Terry podcast.
Oh, okay.
And we'd had Mark on our show a while back.
Oh, very cool.
I think actually Jaren's interested in coming on the show. So
Okay.
we might have him on soon too.
I had
You get that, Jaren?
Oh, I know who they are. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm interested in. Wait, let me see. I got to go over there. I was actually looking at Google Earth. Okay, you guys are Ross and Carrie?
Yeah, I'm Ross.
Uh-oh. That one right? The Uh-oh podcast?
Yeah, that's us. But I'm also with the Independent Investigations Group.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Yeah, I've only heard 2 of your guys' podcasts, but somebody had told me that you had critiqued my speech at the Flat Earth Conference.
Out over the live stream.
Yes.
We weren't able in North Carolina.
Right. So yeah, I checked that out, and I thought you guys were kind at least. At least you. We may not have the same beliefs, but you weren't vicious about it.
Oh, good. Yeah. Well, you know, I was gonna say we try to be kind and fair. I like to think we're naturally kind and fair, but yeah, we'd love to hear you out. So.
And now, let me tell people what your podcast is about. So you guys actually go out and either like join these churches or join religious movements, or go tell people what kind of you do. I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, so we've been doing the podcast over 7 years now, and we joined various religious groups, alternative medical groups. So we've joined the Church of Scientology, we've joined the Mormons and been baptized. We also try alternative medical treatments, reflexology, ear candling, acupuncture, whatever it is. If there's an extraordinary claim attached to it, even if it's maybe a fringe science thing, we'll try it out firsthand. We let people know what it's like. So for the Flat Earth subject, we went and joined a group in Santa Monica. We've actually got quite a few of them here today helping us out. And we reported on that. And then normally we would have gone to the conference firsthand, but it sold out pretty darn quickly before we could make our travel arrangements to North Carolina. So we watched it from afar and kind of reported that way. Then we had Mark Sargent on the show and talked to him. So that was our Flat Earth coverage.
So has anything that you guys have heard about the Flat Earth enlightened you to anything about maybe your understanding of the Earth? Or, I mean, that's one.
Absolutely. It
has.
Yeah. Because anytime someone challenges you on these ideas and asks you questions, I just had Nate Thompson today start asking me questions about asteroids and which direction they're going. Oh,
that was me. I was taking a poll of all the globe earthers. Have you ever seen an asteroid?
Interesting. He stole your question because he said it first and then you repeated it to me. Anyway, so yeah, I never thought of that. And you brought up a new question for me yesterday, which was about the moon landings and the Earthrise.
Yeah.
And so that caused me to look things up as we were talking. So I'm learning a lot just because you have to go say, okay, well, I don't know this question, so let me research what the answer's supposed to be and see if it makes sense. So, and I think that's how a lot of flat earthers get started. So
that's exactly how we all got started. We started off standing where you are.
Excellent. So I definitely learned a lot because anytime you really poke and prod, it just forces you to ask more questions and learn as much as you can.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're here today, because we just wanted to make an honest test of it and see, at what level can you see a target across this distance of water? Does the Earth curvature calculator give you an honest expectation, or can you see it a lot sooner than you should?
I have an idea for a flat Earth experiment. Maybe I could propose, but it might take a little bit of money. I was thinking to take a long, join metal rods together on a salt flat and test the altitude along the whole entire thing. And make sure it's always the same altitude and it's always straight. Is that
I don't think that would work because the ball earthers would say the altitude above the curve would still be consistent.
It would always be flat.
It would be because the altitude would be based on whatever the ground.
Always pointing towards the center.
okay?
Right.
They would say it's curved.
Well,
it was curved in the middle, and it was okay.
Well, actually, what was it? Brian Mullen that had the force the line experiment.
Yeah, which is a great idea.
Do you remember? Can you articulate it? I don't remember the details on that.
Well, basically keeping a structure straight and level, and to do so you'd have to do it in segments and make sure you squared off each and every piece. But he was kind of wanting to construct something 2 miles long, or maybe it was even 3 miles long, and some wherever we could find that much land out in Utah or something.
materials to guarantee that they're
3 miles worth of materials. It's,
Yeah, no, it's
but
not easy.
Squaring and leveling. So, level that would be relative, on the curve.
Yes.
But squaring, so if everything's square and level,
Yeah, if you could
that,
get things
but
reliably
you'd have to have
square,
3
90
miles
degrees.
worth of materials to do that. That's a lot.
Yeah, and that's some pretty precise measurements, but it's a cool idea,
It's
an
doable.
expensive idea, but a cool idea. I like it.
Yeah. So in your investigations on the moon landings and stuff, did
Yeah.
you look into aulis.com?
No, tell me again.
Yeah, you need to spend like about a week on that website.
AULIS.
Mm-hmm. Great website.
Yeah. And as I understand it, it's a PhD level analysts going through the footage and the claims of Apollo as skeptics.
I see it. They've got a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's, like I said, you spend at least a week there easy.
Okay. All right. I will. I don't know if I have a week, but I will spend it.
Well, yeah, maybe I'll get to join you guys. I'll check my email. You probably responded and I haven't seen it, but yeah, I'll probably come on and we can talk.
Sounds good. All right. Is this a live stream right now?
Yeah.
Yep, we're live.
All right, cool. Well, hello, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
So tell them where they can find you. Just plug your stuff.
Yeah. Well, the Independent Investigations Group, iighq.org, and then the podcast, Ono Podcast, or onopodcast.com or Ono Ross and Carey. You can find us anywhere. Better podcasts are sold. Or it's free.
So can you see that
Cool, man.
white building with your eyes right there?
I can see something white out there, yeah.
And I can actually see that.
Oh, wait, I have my overlay. So you said it was at 220?
Yeah, 220.
Let me bring
roughly.
this in. We're going to add an overlay.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We should do a show too. I got a podcast also.
Oh, I know. Yeah, absolutely. It'd be great.
If I point directly at that white building, it's at 260.
Okay, you're looking at right the base at that mountain over there. That white.
The
thing?
base of that tall mountain to the duck is right to the left,
Oh, Jesus,
that's
that's ridiculous.
right of what I'm looking at.
and that is at like 220,
Yeah, 219, 220.
219 southwest from our
Yeah.
location.
Hold on, let me get to your location real quick.
I
See
can see it.
I don't know if you'll be able to see it, the resolution on the cell phone here, but
But I
think
I
we're
did
looking
get
at.
a capture of it on my P900.
Okay.
In fact, I can't even.
You said
we think
220?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it up. I was looking at about 225, so let me move it over a little bit.
Yeah,
It could be
well,
like 216.
216 to 220, somewhere in there.
Okay, let me get there.
I don't know if you can see it, but
Oops, let me
see
get
where
over there.
the mountain has like two different colors, like a lighter color and a darker color.
Okay, I see that.
And there's sort of like a part of the lighter color that's curved just toward the right side of the curve.
Okay.
Like an indent of the mountain, there's what looks like a white building. I don't know if you guys can see that on the camera here, but
I'm going to try and see here. So on the, oops, what
That
happened?
drop from my camera level is supposed to be
45 feet drop expected.
Yeah. Let me look again.
There we go. That's what I meant to bring up. Let
So
me try
yeah,
and move
Darren,
this.
maybe you can figure out if you're looking at the mountains, on Google Earth, how you can adjust the camera angles like
Right.
on the ground. Maybe you can try to get Google Earth to capture this same general topography.
Okay. I'm going to try and move it. You said 215, though?
Yeah, about that, between 215 and 220.
Okay. And there's a white building. It looks like, it might be a church you're looking at.
Oh, yeah?
Well, let me go over there and look and see, because that's what it looks like now. It could be over here. No, that's nothing you would see. And they're on that shore, supposedly?
I guess so, yeah. Everybody's cameras are pointing in that general direction. Anyway.
Okay, let me go over here and we'll spin around and see. And I'll look at the dip that you were just showing us.
So are you guys located somewhere like in front of that lighter colored area of the mountain?
It's the darker color area. That's where the town is.
Okay.
So we think we're in the. You see, there's two cell towers there.
I don't see the cell towers.
There's two flashing lights out there. And
where am I looking?
At the two edges of the dark.
All right, so there's the lighter kind of hump right there.
Yeah,
and
it's
you're to the
underneath
left. Or you're left of the light colored part in the dark area.
Yeah. That dark area is all where this little town is.
Okay. You hear that, Jaron?
Yeah, so I'm looking at the lighter color mountain. Do you see the mountain starting to go back up after that dip to the right, or no?
You're talking about how the lighter part?
Oh yeah, actually just hold the camera straight up because I actually have the image of the Google Earth right next to it. So
He just sent
what happened here?
Oh,
looks like on the ground.
hang on. Here's a picture of.
Hang on,
Can you see this, Jaron? This is what they're doing on the ground.
We need more
Okay.
Mylar.
You see that?
Yeah, where are they at? The town is is back to the left of them.
Jared, can you see the picture I'm showing you?
It's a little bit reflective, but I can see. I just don't know where the town is compared to where they are.
Oh, okay. Do you know where the town is compared to where your guys are?
Oh, okay, let's pull up that location on Google Maps.
It's kind of just south of dead center, I think.
So Coolidge Springs, Desert Shores.
Where's Joshua? Where's Joshua?
So they're supposed to be like right here.
Oh, can you see this, Jaron? There's like these. Are those boat inlets or something?
Yeah,
Sure.
something like that. Some kind of jetty or something.
Yeah. This is. Can you see this, Jaron?
Move it just a little bit into the camera view.
This might narrow it down a bit more. Where's the camera?
That's a little better. Okay. And where are they?
They should be right here.
Oh, okay. That's nowhere near 220 on. That's I don't know. Maybe I was off on my compass.
Maybe you can reverse engineer the direction
Let me see.
to northeast to find us.
Okay, so that's more like two. They're right here at this little. Okay, and they're right in front of that street there, or that.
They should be like right on that final perpendicular piece.
Got you.
Free road.
Capri Road.
Yeah, off of Capri Road.
Okay.
Oh, that's the actual road. Capri
Yeah,
Road.
Capri Road runs out onto that piece.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So they're there.
Okay.
They're there.
Let me see if there's any white buildings behind that. If that's what we're seeing.
Thanks.
Oops. Keep doing that. Okay, white build. Oh, okay, I see. I wonder if she's seeing. There is some white little houses there.
Is that a truck going across there, or is that a boat? It's a truck.
Let me see. What? Let's see.
That one really clear.
So we're still trying. Well, the target is being
farther
blown
away.
sideways,
Oh.
so
That looks,
they're
what,
having
that's
trouble
9
getting
miles, it's gotta be
altitude
like
on the target,
15
which is
points?
making
So
it hard
there's
to
a truck
see.
going on the road over there.
Okay.
Can you see that moving,
Um,
like directly above his head? pretty
yeah,
much?
yeah, I thought that was what you were talking about.
Yeah, it's moving right over there.
Yeah, if you see the truck, you know what's crazy is that from what I can tell, you know you're 230 feet below sea level, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we are. So
Yeah.
can
But the truck is 210 feet below sea level, so I don't think that's what you're seeing.
you tell what the altitude of that road is right over there?
The road altitude is about, it's all lower than you guys, 210, 220, 210.
Well, if it's lower,
It can't be lower. We're at water level.
No, well, there's everything behind the water level is lower than where you are.
No, it would be underwater if it was lower than water.
well enough.
No, it's behind it.
No, there's no levee over there. I mean, it's.
So I have my mouse right on the shore, right where you guys said those people are, and it's negative 230 feet. And then as I move it back, oh, I see, it's going the wrong way. Negative 210 would be above. Sorry, I'm backwards. I'm not used to doing negative sea levels. So negative 210 would be 20 feet higher than where you're at.
Okay.
So the road is 20 feet?
Let me see. This is 230. The
Yeah,
road
20
is
feet.
So
210.
then that should be-
210, 213,
My camera
Negative
can see it.
210.
negative 210.
So how high is the road off of the water?
The road is
20
about 20 feet, maybe. Yeah.
Okay,
Which road?
because according to my camera right here, which can see that, the road should be 45 feet under the curve.
That's true. If you can make sure, we'd have to know that that's the road you're looking at, though.
Yeah.
What road are you talking about?
Whatever road those trucks that I can't
Oh,
see
the
them now.
main, like.
I guess it's the main
86?
road. Yeah, the road right behind Capri, I guess.
Let me get the distance to the road there.
Is there more than one road right there?
No, there's just one. It looks
That's
like.
main, like a
There's
main
just one
highway or
road?
something.
Well, I mean, the road, when I'm looking at it to the right, the road is banking up.
Okay, the road does go up to the right, but if you're talking about straight in line with where those people are with the balloons, that's only 20 feet.
But we can't see that. We can't see that. The road is obscured by trees and houses. Straight behind them.
Right, and then as it starts to go off to your
Yeah,
right,
we were looking at a truck that was going by.
was it off to your right,
It was off
Rob?
to our left. It was off to our left.
To your left.
Yeah,
How far off that line? How far off the line where they are?
Pretty far, probably.
Oh, okay. Because that road gets.
It would be south of wherever the guys are on the other side.
Oh, gotcha. He's saying something about
I
some
don't-
cell
you probably
towers.
see it. You probably can't see it through my phone here, but
Let me get
like
over
I
there.
can see cars driving way over there.
Okay, so let me look. Are you talking about now where the lighter colored mountain meets the darker colored? Are you talking about to the left
Yeah,
of that or
if-
to the right?
To the left of that. So you got the lighter color of the mountain, the dark
Right.
part on the left of it, and then keep going left, and you can see all kinds of traffic driving around over there.
Okay, let me see where that's at here. So this is where, let me back up and look. So we got the lighter part of the mountain hitting the dark here.
We're getting huge mirroring effect.
Oh, I'm sure you are.
We're getting a lot of mirroring effect. We're getting a false horizon.
Man, I'm getting eaten alive by bugs out here.
Ew. He said something about some cell towers that they can see. Is that what I heard him saying? I'm trying to find
Yeah.
them.
There's some kind of blinking cell towers, I guess, on the other side.
What's your status?
I don't see them.
What's happening? Okay.
Yeah, they gotta confirm visual.
Maybe you can tell me real quick. In front on the face of the mountain range, before you get into the mountains, I'm looking at a triangular shaped rock kind of thing.
Hi there. Hi.
I'm Jim.
Jim.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Jim.
Triangular shaped
Right.
rock.
Flat, brown.
Flat, brother.
Flat.
Yes, sir.
Flat Jim.
Yes, sir. JDM Jim.
JDM Jim.
I have multiple accounts.
Oh, yeah.
Very vocal.
Oh, on YouTube?
On Facebook.
On Facebook.
I'm the aggressive guy.
One of them, anyway.
If you guys see a car again, can you please let me know so I can film it with
Um,
my P900?
Yeah, I see it right now. See right there?
Let me
See
look,
that-
hold on.
See that white?
You see the white trailer, the truck driving right now?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, that's actually where they are, all the way over there.
Oh, really? They're where that truck is?
Hey, Newman.
Oh, so they're actually where the truck is.
See, I thought they weren't where you guys were showing.
Yeah, so look in the wrong direction, I guess.
Give us
Okay.
Yeah, you know,
I know how it goes.
it happens.
Look at basically the tallest peak where we were looking. Yeah. Okay, now go to the left, downhill, downhill, downhill. Almost when it gets down to the ground, there's a little white peak.
Yeah, a little beige mountain.
Yeah,
Oh,
little
yeah.
beige peak. That's pretty much right where they are.
Okay, can you see that, Jaren? That little beige, light-colored peak on the left of the dark area?
Point it to me.
I'm pointing now.
What? Hold on.
See how you have the big arch that we were talking about where the lighter color?
Oh, we lost
and
you
it
for a
goes
second.
dark?
You're back.
You lost-
Okay, go.
You know how we're looking at that big bulge right there, the light color, and then it gets dark?
Okay.
Then if you keep going to the south, there's like a little mountain peak that's the same color beige, the lighter color, at the lower end of the dark color.
Okay, so see if I'm describing this right. So where the light color in the back meets that dark color, where you showed us earlier, you're talking about like
Go left.
left from there, and there's another little. Oh, it's a little. I see a dark hump, but I don't see a light hump.
It may not be coming through on the camera resolution, but there's as the mountain comes to meet the ground, there's
Right.
like this little bump.
Okay.
It's a lighter colored bump, and I guess that's where they're at.
Let me see if I can find that.
You got the car? Oh.
You can look at it through here to see exactly. I'm focused on.
Things are heating up over here, dude.
Oh, I know. I don't envy you. Although I do live in Merced, so it's going to be 105 today too. But I am
And,
inside.
spraying the sky pretty heavily right above us.
No, they wouldn't do that.
Oh yeah. Lots of
Okay,
chemicals
so
going
I
on there.
see what you're talking about a little bit.
Hey guys, how high is the balloon?
We're still on the ground about
10 feet off the ground. Okay.
No, we're not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, I know.
You should be able to see it.
That truck is supposed to be 45 feet below the surface, and it's only 20 feet.
199, 230.
Why can't the flat earth?
Hey, Steve. I
What's
mean,
what's the temperature?
Rob.
And what are we shooting over? Do you know how miraging? Do you know how miraging works? Okay. All right. Actually, that's not true. Okay, you clearly haven't done too many tests then.
Rob, can you see any cars behind where they said they are?
Can I see that? What?
Can you see any cars? So that little light hump you were telling me to look at, is there any
Yeah, I
cars
see
there?
cars. Yeah, there's one a little bit south of it driving right now, a truck. You probably can't see it through my camera, but
We'll see if you can find somebody who can get a car right behind where they are, because where they are, the road is 200 feet and the water ends at 230. So that's 30 feet. So you shouldn't be able to see anything on that road behind them. And actually, that's a further distance. Let me go.
Okay.
Oh,
there it is.
I see it. I see it.
Okay, we see it now. We see it.
They're not listening.
Wait.
They didn't want to hear about the
We're a
truck
little busy at the
because they're
moment.
just like, I can't see the balloon.
How high is it?
That was really exciting for me.
20 feet. Okay. So there's supposed to be 30-something feet of curvature, and we got
it's like 40 feet. I think.
we got an eye. We're at least 30.
No, it's like 30, 35.
35.
Okay, it's south of the south tower. South. Okay, we can see the two balloons. We can see the target flying now, but there's a little bit of a mirror effect. But the target's now bobbing right about at the break line.
All right, one of the balloons is running together.
Yeah. Jim, confirm that the two balloons are kind of
Melding
bunching
together.
up a little bit.
Yep.
Are you getting anything?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in here. Ready?
Okay.
Okay, so we're starting all the way out. Zoom in.
Can you bring up a little bit more?
Zoom in.
'Cause we're trying to
There's
see
the structure there under,
target
and
now.
you see that bright spot.
I'm just gonna have you move your
now I
arm
see-
once
I
you
see
get
the
it.
target. I see the reflection of the target. Bring it down a little bit. Down a little bit.
There it is.
Bring it down.
Okay.
Bring it down. Bring it down.
They're going to get a reading right now how high the balloon is.
Get a reading right now. I don't have very much flat. Well, okay, actually, you're way overflying. You're flying way higher than the perspective. From my perspective, bring the left balloon down because you seem to be much higher on the left balloon. There you go. Perfect.
Very exciting.
Straight down. Both balloons.
Hold up. There's in front of me.
So for those listening, we got about 9.6 miles. They're looking across. They've got two helium balloons holding a reflective surface, and they're trying to get the measurement now that they see it on both cameras of what the height of the balloon is, considering that distance should have about 35 feet of curve.
We need to bring it down. Walk it down a little bit. Got it. Walk it out. Yeah, slowly. But that left balloon, from our perspective, seems to be higher. Can you?
Did you see the black and white truck right now?
Yeah. Okay.
Is that going?
I'll say right when the truck happens.
Okay. Right now.
Yeah. Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it down. Okay.
The truck is passing.
I can't see the. No.
Yeah, we're here.
Yep. Hey, Newman, it's not square to us. Is that the problem? Is it not square to us? Okay, you're right.
35 feet, Rob.
35 feet.
That's with a 4 foot eye height and 9.6 miles.
Oh, at 4 feet.
How high is he?
I'm gonna guess. Yeah, that's probably close to 4 feet.
What do you see, Nathan?
noticeably above the horizon. What's that, Jim? See the Salton Sea? Look how much higher the balloon is.
Well, it's at the center of the reflection. You see the reflection there, right?
Yeah.
See, everything is a mirror image there. If I zoom out a little
now
bit
even
for you,
okay.
and
All right,
sure you can see everything's reflecting at that midpoint, and that's where the balloon is emerging. And here we have a truck moving, and it disappeared below the reflection point. And then, so
You
the
shouldn't be
truck-
able to see any trucks from there.
How's the wind doing?
All right, cool. They're walking it towards the water.
Well, they weren't even at the water, huh?
I haven't seen it yet.
How far up from the shoreline were they?
How far up from the shoreline were you?
They were on a berm similar to this berm.
Similar to this berm. How far back?
It's probably
Okay.
20 yards, something like that.
20 yards.
30 maybe.
20 to 30 yards back from the shore.
They're on the shore now.
They were on a similar area that we have here, about 20 to 30 yards
Anyone
back.
have eyes on it? Not yet. Nope. No, we don't have eyes on this side.
Ross, did you see the balloon elevator?
Yeah.
Did it look like it was at ground level? Or did it look like it was up in the air?
No,
Oh, yeah.
People get nervous.
You can see there's a reflection of the balloon itself. So they're right at the reflection point there. Okay, so it's looking up and down. Right in front of that.
So the guy's saying they're right at the reflection point. Now I wonder what that height is. Height is.
Oh wait. Hey Newman, are you bringing the balloons up?
And in a moment,
What
you'll
height
see,
above water? Did you see the balloons? Hold on.
it was pretty darn high. They actually had to go down from the water and go up on the
So
berm.
they're creating the curvature.
Yeah, so this isn't, up to the test protocol right now. It was just us confirming.
Gosh, I'll be honest, the balloons are a lot higher than I thought they'd be above the sea level. We're getting eyes on them.
No, but that's expected.
And there is a ton of mirroring going on.
That's totally expected. I know.
How high, Nathan?
How high?
Now see the top of
Was
the
it 40
target.
feet?
Yeah.
Something like that.
See the
How high?
top of the target.
How high were they?
How high are you up right now, Nathan?
That's just them holding it up for us to try to
What's
see.
40 feet right now? I'm 46 feet. Okay.
46.
46 feet.
45, 46 feet.
Till you can see them?
From the
Yeah.
No, the oh, okay.
Yeah,
Not the water line. 46 is the water line.
they want to know if they can start reeling it in a little bit.
Hey, Newman, what's the status over there? Are you having still control?
Texas, I've been focused. My phone's dying.
Are you guys? Does it look flat to you, or are you? Because you're off.
Did it turn off, Nadine?
Okay, we're still having a hard
Hey.
time seeing them from the water. So at least now we've got a good visual. We know what it looks
One balloon popped.
So earlier when they were saying how high they were off the ground, they were way behind the water line?
Yeah, they're like 20 or 30 yards behind the water.
Mm.
I guess their side looks somewhat similar to our side, so if you kind of look at the shoreline here, they're 20 or 30 yards off the shore.
And Rob, is that camera that's in front of you, is that girl's P900?
Hers is right here on the ground. Can you see that?
Oh, okay, I see it there. I'm just wondering what do you see when you zoom in fully on that side, if you could see anything?
I haven't looked through it. I don't know. I didn't look through the camera.
Mm-hmm. How about the guy?
It'd be interesting if they'd be willing to share their footage.
Yeah, I wonder if you can ask that guy just to take a look, just his viewfinder, what he sees.
Hey, are you recording everything into video?
Let's see, I'm recording a lot of this footage, like whenever we're trying
when
to
you're finding
capture
stuff?
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I've got a lot of
So
that.
you guys gonna post that anywhere?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and I can send it to you too.
Okay. Yeah, very cool. Yeah, right on.
I mean, I'd say if you weren't viewing them,
Do you have a card or anything?
I should actually. I might. Let me check real quick. Hey, how's it going, Andy?
I'm gonna get his business card.
Okay.
And you can contact him for the footage.
Yeah, I know how to contact him. I have his email. He's the guy from the podcast, so.
Oh, okay.
But Rob, can you see his viewfinder? Can you just look at what he's looking at?
It's shut off right now.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to mess with his camera.
Yes, no, don't do that.
Yeah, it's off right now. It's hard to see anyway. I mean,
That's why I can't picture what would be the view if you had a fully zoomed in P900 at the other shore. What you would see.
Okay, Jaron said he knows how to get a hold of it. So,
excellent. Yeah, info at Ono Podcast.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So you guys documenting on the other side, I assume, your heights and distances and everything you guys were doing on that side?
Yeah, so when we were seeing it just now, it was 46 feet up on the ground.
The target or the balloon?
The balloon.
The target or the balloon?
The
got
bar.
Something hanging down. The bar that's hanging under the balloon?
Yeah, let me give you a better image.
Okay. Can you see this, Jaron?
Okay, so here's an image of what the target looks like.
Okay.
And then
okay.
Here's what it looks like aloft.
Oh, cool. Can you see that, Jaron?
Yeah, it looks. What's blue?
That's the sky. The sky, you got the two balloons, and then this line right here is.
So the height that we're measuring is to this line right here, this PVC pipe.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's going. And so yeah, you can see there's a tape holding onto it. So when they got it upright, and it was 46 feet off the ground.
Gotcha.
When we were seeing it.
Oh, okay. So you had a tape measure or something?
Yeah, it's a
connected
reel.
to it? Oh,
yeah,
okay,
it's a tape reel.
Oh, okay, very cool. Yeah, that's a cool idea.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the measure point right there. So the balloons are above that.
Gotcha.
And so you guys were looking to see the reflective surface.
The reflective surface is the
below
actual
the balloon.
target.
Yeah. Cool.
we don't care about the balloon.
Yeah.
Balloon, we can't measure the height.
Yeah, right.
It's just reflective surface.
Right on. Cool.
Maximum was 46 feet.
Gotcha.
But you were above the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, at first, I was doing 60 feet.
Well,
When they brought it down.
but you guys are also 20 or 30 yards up the beach too, right?
No.
Oh.
No. When they first did it so we could see them, they were up on the berm. Just now, they were at the water line.
You're at the water line. Okay.
Yeah. Now, interestingly enough, Josh, Flat Earther up there, saw it far before we did because he had a higher elevation.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Again, it's the same phenomenon that causes the buildings to be covered in Chicago.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Did you get? It's Skunk Bay, right?
Yeah.
That was the name of that. Have you ever seen the footage of Skunk Bay? I put it up on several of my videos, and a lot of people did too.
Are you talking about the Chicago one, or is this
No,
a
no.
different
There's.
one?
I don't know where Skunk. Is that like Washington State or something? I don't know where it is, but somebody had some kind of camera on the lake on a time lapse.
Okay.
I think it was like a full day, like a whole afternoon anyway.
Right.
And depending on the temperature, like see that dark area below the light area, like where I guess those are trees over there or something.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Okay, so there
At the edge of the water.
Yeah, pretend that's a town.
Yes.
Right there. Throughout the day, it looked like the lake was drowning the town.
Right.
All day long, because of the temperature and atmospheric distortions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with the shooting on water, especially in the heat.
Well, you're looking through a lens.
Well, you're looking through a lens, but yeah, the atmosphere's a lens, exactly.
Right, and then it's a magnifying lens. It's going to magnify the water right behind it, right?
Yeah.
Which raises the horizon line.
Yeah, the horizon line gets risen, and then what's ever behind it, the refraction bends light down.
You could just ask the guy Ross right there, if he put on if you put on the horizon grid on your camera, and then.
Do you have a horizon grid on the camera?
Oh, this is not a P900. I'm sorry, I thought it was.
It is a P900.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the grid that you can put on there. I'd be anxious to see if where that water line is. Excuse me.
Well, I mean, they have verifiers on that. All right. Well, what's the point of it? Okay. Hey, Newman, haul it over there and come over this side.
Break it down.
Break it down. They're breaking down. You there? Sharon?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they're done. They're breaking down on the other side.
And then the other tests are doing some sort of boat test.
Oh, good, cool. So you guys are doing a boat test next?
Oh, I don't know. I was asking.
Yeah, they are. They are. That's next.
So Rob, if you can get somebody to take a look through a P900 and see if a grid where that horizon line is.
Can you tell me how to get to the grid?
Oh, let me get my camera here.
Got a moment. I'd love to get an update on.
Let's see, I got display mode here.
I'm looking through mine here. Menu.
Yeah, I was looking under the menu. You didn't see it.
We're trying to get some things on just kind of the whole flat Earth lifestyle.
I'll find it 1 second here.
I actually found researching YouTube and all of that stuff, and I learned it from Mark.
The weird thing is you get different menu options for each of the little things you're on, so you have to go through each one.
Yeah, that's kind of what he's doing.
Yeah. I'm looking at all of them. I'm not seeing them.
They got quite a few options.
M startup is starts in. No. Of course, when you want to find it, let me find it 1 second. This one, nope, it's not that one. Menu.
I'm Spencer Marks. I'm an investigator with the Independent Investigation Group.
I mean, the most I can see is like if you hit the display button, you get kind of a black box.
Yeah, I thought it was on here. Let me see if maybe it's under this one. Maybe it's under the landscape. That's landscape menu.
Hang on, we're getting a summary here.
So we just floated with the moon on the other side, and we couldn't see it until it was 45 feet actually up in the air, which is a little bit above the horizon. But we did spot it, and it was quite high from our perspective here before we could even see it.
Walk me through the process. I noticed it took a little while to sort of even figure out where it was. Walk me through that process of with you with the binoculars and Spencer with the scope, and was there any apprehension of even finding the location at all?
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough find. We're looking almost 10 miles across a body of water. Looking 10 miles and just trying to see something that's relatively small is tough. So a large part of this was figuring out exactly where they were and where to look when this thing started going up in the air.
But you found it.
We found it, and it showed pretty much. It actually seems to be even more curvature than we expected.
It says go to the menu. What?
Between you guys and tell me about the moment when you kind of really realized where it was and that it, from your perspective, confirmed your prediction.
Yeah, I mean, I was all about just finding the thing. I knew it would happen once we saw it. Yeah, I mean, it's a relief to actually get a look at it and then to verify how high it was up in the air.
So just tell me how that happened. So you had a visual on it, and then they read back what the measurement was and how high it was.
Yeah. So
just tell me how that worked.
So we were in constant conversation, and they were telling us at what level the target was in constant conversation. And then when it got to a certain level, and we could see it, then we asked them again what height it is, and it was.
So, in conclusion, from this test, how would you wrap this up?
So yeah, this verifies that there is a pretty serious curvature over 10 miles across the body.
Curvature.
And what do you extrapolate from that? To the larger issue of why we're here today?
I extrapolate that the Earth is a globe, and we're just confirming everybody's known.
Okay, thank you,
Okay. Can I?
Yep. Do it.
Okay. So, Mark?
45 was the number, right, Ross? Spencer, 45 was the number.
45, 46. Signal Pablo?
So I clearly, so with the binoculars, I was able to see the what was
right.
How high was it?
Even with the binoculars, so we couldn't see it until they were 45 feet up in the air, and they were a little bit above the horizon at 45 feet.
What does that mean?
That means that there's a 45-foot difference between this shore and that shore.
And that only happens because?
The Earth is a globe, and it curves away from
Yeah, that's just not true.
Convincingly that the Earth is
real.
Convincingly. Oh, what happened? What happened?
I immediately point to that what appears to be an island out there. An hour ago, there were two. Those are actually mountains, and one of them was directly to the right of it. It's gone. To the right of that is continuous landform that connects to the test. It is broken up. There's atmospheric distortion because the
Adam Lagana, and because of atmospheric cleansing.
I don't know what that has to do with it. If this is a flat body of water,
Right.
like they say water is flat, you
Right,
should
we're
be.
gonna pivot all you guys around like this. Yeah, because then you're getting on top. Yeah.
I don't know what that has to do with it.
Sorry.
I don't know what that has to do with it. If this is a flat surface, like flat earthers say water is a flat surface, you should be able to see a person standing on this shore. You should be able to see a person standing on that shore. It's not flat. You can't see that. You can't see anything until it gets 40 or 45 feet up in the air. That's what we just showed, that the balloon has to be up in the air. Everything we're looking at on that shore right now is at least 45 feet above the level of the water.
I mean, it's, preconceived notions is calling that. Oops. Your sound's going out here.
That's why we're here for. Yeah, but what's the temperature now versus 5 o'clock or 68 degrees? The temperature has to do with the water.
Everything.
The fact that you're asking that question tells me you don't know what you're talking about.
We know about temperature inversions. There's not a temperature inversion right now. You can come out here 365 days. You come and find a day when this isn't the case. There will never be a day from now until eternity when this same visual effect is basically not happening. You may find some freak incident where you get a mirage or a temperature inversion or reflection or something, but most of the time we are looking at 30 to 40 feet above the other sea.
Free to disagree, but come back at night with a laser.
Yep. Come back at night with a light on the other side.
In the wintertime.
Come back at night with a laser.
But you guys,
First of all, no civilian is allowed to have a laser that will go
We
across
do.
10 miles.
We've been doing it.
We've been doing it for 3 years.
And hitting a target with it?
Yep.
Okay.
You set a new world
I
record.
would love to see that. You
But
do a video.
We don't have to do the video. We gave them the paper before we came out here.
No, we don't want to see a paper. We
We've
want
got
to
the
see
video.
The Guinness was there.
Historical world record was there with us. Documented the whole thing.
Okay.
World star.
Well,
Where can it be found on YouTube?
oh, please. YouTube, the arbiter of all that is
YouTube
true.
is the biggest
Come
library.
on.
the best peer review in
YouTube
the
is
world.
the
Peer
biggest
review.
No better
library
peer review in the world than
mankind has ever known. There's information of all sorts.
That's right.
There's information
The
proving we live under the world.
YouTuber Nobel Prize winners is a long list.
So
We're not talking about Nobel. We're talking about Guinness.
No, I would love to see that. You tell me
He's
when you're
obviously
going to
very open about testing. We came here today.
Yeah, we
Everybody
came-
in his group woke up at 3 a.m. to do this demonstration.
No, it's not open when the guy says it's exactly what we expected.
come back to the laser. If you can hit a target and make sure it's level, I would love to see it hit a target on the other side. You won't do it. I'm predicting right now. You will not do it.
Because we haven't done it already.
You won't do it again. You didn't show us.
But we have the. We have the
This
video
was your
for
experiment.
it.
This was your experiment.
We came out here and showed you in person. You show us in person.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
Same
Oh,
challenge.
fair enough. I like that.
Challenge accepted, bro.
You guys feel the earth moving?
come on.
No, hold on.
No,
hold
this is
on.
a huge part of the
Hold on,
argument.
hold on. Are you familiar? That's linear momentum. Yes. Well, if the earth is rotating, that's angular momentum.
The reason
Ouch.
we never feel any change.
Uh-oh.
Aaron's a physicist, just so you guys know.
So what about the compound of the earth rotating and going around the sun? Why don't we feel that? Because we're on the ball. We feel a fluctuation of centrifugal force.
We're not sitting on a boat on an ocean. This is a massive rock floating through the space.
That just dismisses the issue. You've never proven movement ever. That's why you don't feel it.
That's why they're, yeah, they're, misunderstanding.
All right, volcano plume. Volcano plumes. Can I ask you guys this? What?
Already, and you're inside of it.
Are
This is
you guys
Aaron
good?
Krishock right here. He's got a physics degree, and he will crush these guys on Earth's movement.
Okay, so we're still going to do the boat thing. We'll launch pretty soon. We got our target right here. We're still going to do the boat test. What we expect to happen is by the time it gets to be about 3 miles out, you're going to start losing at least one of those horizontal stripes. So we're going to keep track of how far we are from the shore. We're going to hang, and we want one of your people in the boat with us so you can see that we're just touching the surface of the water. We're not trying to dip it or cheat it or anything. And then we'll face the shore a couple of times, and it'll be a lot easier to see.
How are they going to keep track of that, Rob?
So stay tuned. We'll be back.
How are you tracking your mileage on your way out? Do they have a GPS or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean,
They have an app that's Globe Earth.
GPS on there too. I mean, GPS works on fundamental science too, right? So it's satellite
Towers
based.
and antennas.
GPS has nothing to do with satellites.
I know. I'm glad. I didn't think I was going to convince anyone because you should be convinced by the massive amount of evidence that already exists in the world. But I'm glad you're here and checking this out.
So why do you think we can see the actual shore where it meets the water?
You can't.
Yes, we can.
No, you
No,
can't.
you're not.
I can see a car driving. Isn't that?
No,
We saw cars 40 feet up.
We saw cars going underwater. We Google mapped it. It's 20 feet above the
By
ground
the way,
on the road.
when I was here 3 months ago, and here's another good test, and radio your guys right now. There's massive freight trains that come by here, and you're on that side of the lake. It looks like the freight train is going right on the edge of the water. That freight train's probably at least 40 feet off
Well, you do know
this
about
level.
atmospheric refraction.
Yeah, but Jim, I just captured a truck on that road, and Darren said the road is only 20 feet high. And from my level, that should be 50 feet below. So it should even.
She's a foot off the ground.
I'm a foot off the ground. So if that road is 20
Go
feet.
over there and watch a freight train go and tell me that's not riding on the surface of the water. You don't see this reach from over there, ever. You see that train track, which is, go look at it now, it's like 35 feet off the surface.
Yeah,
Right
Train
there.
tracks built with the curvature in mind? They're not.
The interferometer is just like an accepted instrument to measure movement. And an interferometer placed on the Earth.
We don't care about. I'm not measuring.
We're all here. Let's talk about it.
No, I have another test to do. I can't argue all these scientific.
Boat test.
All these scientists, you know.
Are you wishing you were here now, Jared?
Really, I am. I'm pissed.
I hear you.
To verify.
I'm not going to be able to talk to anybody through the phone.
We need a small person to control it.
Atmospheric lensing. I saw. It's atmospheric lensing. That's right. I saw atmospheric lensing. I saw distortion. I saw the Fata Morgana effect. Nothing new on our side. We've been doing this for 3 years straight.
Rob, you predicted it.
There's way too much distortion for heat off the water. Messes with.
I mean, look at the distortion now, Rob, when you look over there.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Next to it is
Yeah.
It was there an hour ago. We do tests at night. We do cold weather tests if we can, and we use lasers. Very good at lasers. And that's how you get it done.
So just to confirm what they saw today.
We're going to help them. You know, like, look, we have to go through these things ourselves. We stumbled on these hurdles ourselves.
Yeah.
So as I heard Jim describe what he saw here, right, was that they couldn't see it, they couldn't see the balloon, and then finally, once they were able to see it, they took a measurement on the other side. There were folks there to verify that measurement, and it was about 45, 46 feet.
Yep.
Does that hold no water for you?
No. Oh, nice play on words. Yeah, no, it doesn't hold water at all. We've done this test before.
There's not a 40-foot wall of water between the shore and the shore.
40-foot wall of water.
See the whole. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you believe there's a big bump of water. Like there's a mountain of water, a 40-foot high mountain of water that if you were in a boat, you're going to have to go over the mountain.
It doesn't spill on both sides.
That's what you believe.
Saying is the atmosphere.
So if that's the case, if you're watching a boat, let's say this is a z-axis, and we're watching a boat go over this 40-foot high hump that you believe is in the water, then if a guy is on that side looking this way, he would have to see the same thing, right?
Correct. Hey, that's a great point.
Well, the answer, I'll give you the answer for you. The answer would be yes, he would. Which means then, if we're seeing a Z-axis boat go over a bump, 40-foot high bump, on our Z-axis, and he's seeing the same thing, his Z-axis is this way, which is our X-axis. So we should be able to see this curve,
right?
Too.
Yeah.
Not just this curve, but this curve.
Not just forward and back.
It's because you're just looking at the person observing's perspective, which is,
Water always remains perfectly flat and level. This test was supposed to show that water curves, that water bends. It does not. It never has.
A 40-foot mountain.
Yeah. Sorry. It's not something I wanted to,
Let me just kind of jump to a larger sort of philosophical notion here, which is what? Well, who's behind propagating this? Is this really a myth? If this is just people pulling the wool over the public's eyes,
right? Who's doing it and why?
Yeah.
No, it's a common question. I get it probably 1 out of every 10. And answer: who would be the powers that be? The ruling authority. And I'm not saying the President of the United States, we're talking probably levels of magnitude above him. But why? Power, control, nothing more simple than that. Think about this. Think if the world changed tomorrow and the 500-year reign of the globe, and think what happens. Overnight, every university in the world, astrophysics and astronomy, those programs shut down. They shut other doors and never reopened. The remaining sciences, archaeology, biology, geology, take your pick, hydrology, they all have to be rebuilt from the ground up. World markets would potentially be shut down for months to try to figure out what it means. What does it mean to the world? And then, of course, spirituality, that's the biggest one, which is all of a sudden you're telling the world that science was wrong about the biggest thing they had, which was the globe. That puts science in a credibility crisis, which means, okay, you're wrong about the globe. What else are you wrong about? Evolution, the Big Bang, dark matter, that sort of stuff.
And science can't let that happen.
What do you think? A guy like Jim. Do you think Jim is?
Jim's fine.
Is he delusional or is he in cahoots with the powers?
No, not at all. As a matter of fact, I appreciate Jim coming out. I did a little research on the guy. Like what he does, but at the same time, it's a little bit out of his wheelhouse. He specializes in debunking the paranormal. People that claim there's ghosts and mediums who can read minds and project thoughts. This is flat Earth. This is a whole other animal. We're a lot more organized than you might think.
But he saw what you interviewed me. I said he's going to get exactly what he wants to see.
Exactly what. Yeah.
And because of the temperature, you should look up Skunk Bay. Okay, Skunk Bay. There's a video where somebody had a camera on a lake. It was on a time lapse, like the whole afternoon. And you see that dark area over there? Like, let's pretend that's a town over there. During the day, the water was rising above the town all day, depending on the temperature. So if you're just looking at it, you'd say, there's no city there. Well, yeah, there is a city there. Well, was the city being flooded 5 times a day? Or are we dealing with some sort of atmospheric distortion that is causing us to see things obscured on the other side? And the more you do these tests, and this is why they say you're not scientists. What is a scientist? Somebody who can observe something, do a test, and repeat it. Testable, observable, repeatable. That's a scientist, right?
Will the next test with the boat?
No.
Is that
no? Because it's just a
You're gonna have
shorter
the same
version
problem.
of that. You're gonna run the biggest problem is temperature.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
And moisture.
And moisture. There's a fantastic one. Everything.
And lay a camera on the ground and have somebody start walking away from it, and they'll start disappearing from the feet up.
I ever saw, which was a low rent test. It wasn't even a laser test. It was the cold weather. You can look up flat Earth freezing temperatures. So flat Earth freezing 7.53 miles. Which was a husband-wife team. Same sort of thing. The lake had just started to freeze. He put his camera right on the ice here. She put a flashlight on the other side. Perfect. They could see it. They were talking to each other on cell phones. Explain that. This is why this particular area and any other warm water lake, especially at Salt Lake, I'm gathering, is the worst test you'd ever want to do. But we were here as witnesses and observers only. We're not here to tell you, like, okay, you don't do this because it's a rookie mistake and you hate to see it, but we've done this. We've done this test. We wrote the book on this test. And we perfected it. So what you're doing now, we predicted what we said was going to happen, and with the boat thing, it's the same thing's going to happen. It's is going to be a shorter version.
So
Robotum did the same thing in 6 miles. The boat test in 6 miles.
So what you guys should do is, since the boat's going out there 3 miles, what if the boat goes all the way across the 9-mile stretch and have somebody go to that 90-degree angle point and watch the boat go over 40 feet of curvature?
Yeah, right. Go to the 90-degree point and see where they go over the mountain, the 40-foot mountain.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I want to see the boat go over the mountain, the water mountain. Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate, you know full well what we're looking at here, Jaron. It comes down to editing and what will National Geographic do with the final product.
That's interesting.
Well, we know the story on that one.
Well, maybe. I'm in the same hotel with them. I'm going to probably talk to them tonight. I've hit them as hard as I could, and they get it. Plus, again, this particular guy,
So Mark,
couldn't even respond to the fact that mountain's gone.
Mark, you should have them. They have the boat that they say they're going to take out 3 miles, right? But if the boat leaves the position that you're at now and goes to the other side, the 9 miles,
Right.
and you take somebody and go to the end over there, I can only show you on Google Earth, but pretend like that's north and south, and have somebody go to the west end of the lake and observe that boat going across, and it has to go up and over that 40 feet.
Right. Oh, right. They shouldn't be able to see the boat from the other side.
Well, it's the Z and X axis problem.
Yeah.
Our Z axis going over the curve. Yeah. His Z axis is our X axis.
Oh, yeah. Here's, by the way, and this thing keeps getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
That section over there.
You probably can't
where,
see.
No, we can see it looks bad.
So, but that thing you were talking about, that raising and lowering
Right,
the temperature, this is happening right here. That coastline down there continued all the way to about there, and it's gone. And it's just happened.
It'd be interesting. Take a mental note of that right there.
Yeah.
And see as it gets warmer if that changes like the Skunk Lake.
I guarantee it will.
Yeah, I guarantee you that. Yeah.
That thing out there that looks like an island, that was a mountain, and right next to it was a smaller island, and that was only an hour ago. Yeah. That smaller thing is gone, and he says, "Oh, it's the haze." It's like, we talk about the haze. But I know he's remember, this particular guy, he is never, ever, ever going to come around on this. He is. So.
If you had like the portable sun at the other side and somebody looking in the middle of the night, you wouldn't have that 40 feet.
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, come here in the wintertime. Although if we're so far south, in the wintertime it's probably still 80 or 90 degrees.
Yeah, but if you got there overnight, or got there late at night, maybe you're 3 in the morning or 4 in the morning, if you do the same test with some sort of light source on the other side, I think you would see it a lot sooner.
The light's bending over the curvature.
And that's all they would say there too.
We got a small person.
We need a small person to ride in the boat. We need a flat earther. We need a vertically challenged.
A vertically challenged flat earther.
Someone who's struggling with gravity.
Get in there, bro. I mean, we're your event.
You gotta wait.
Nathan, but we're hoping for a
smaller person.
Yeah, if nothing's personal, it's just the size of the boat.
Sure. Yeah.
It's just the boat. No, we can get in the truck.
A lot of people there, huh?
I'm gonna go get a hat because like my head's on fire.
Yeah, we don't want you getting any sunburns there.
Yeah, right. How many people are watching?
Oh, I haven't even been looking. Let me go look. I've been on your page. 1,200, 1,300 almost.
Wow, awesome. Hey guys, thanks for watching.
So Rob Skiba's here. We got Nathan Thompson's there, Mark Sargent, Patricia Steer. I was supposed to be there. Miss got a little sick on Thursday night, so we didn't go down to Arcadia. We still were going to try and make it, but then we thought about it and said, one day to drive 7.5 hours and turn around and come back. We're like, eh. And Missa wasn't feeling up to it.
For stuff we've been doing for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. But, I had a feeling, I already got screwed on this deal once with the, obviously the Behind the Curve documentary. So I've already seen what can happen when these guys film experiments, that they're going to twist it and turn it in their way. And they're just, they have preconceived notions. They're not going to listen to alternative ideas. We just said, if that boat went over 40 feet of water, or there's a 40-foot hump in that lake, then somebody standing at the the 90-degree angle looking back, or the perpendicular looking back, should be able to see that boat go up and over a curb, but they'll just see it ride flat on that water all the way across. So the globe it's not like this is just some fluke of a conspiracy or just some, I don't know, deception that somebody just decided to just throw out there and see how long it would last. Like, this is the lie of all lies. So you have to have all the evidence in place to where when somebody does a test like this, that they're going to have an explanation for it, and they just see that hump as being curvature. Rob, do you think that it is interesting, though, that possibly in some way they reverse engineered our eyesight?
Yeah, I do. The way I look at it is there has to be when you're dealing with visual acuity, perspective, refraction, all of that. There must be. I'm not smart enough to figure this out, but I'm figuring there must be some sort of correlation between that and what we perceive to be curvature math. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because from what I've been seeing, everything that we have observed can be explained by perspective, visual acuity, refraction issues, but they say no, it's the curvature.
Right.
But the thing is, it's not consistent.
No, and again, it's not.
I've watched ships go out to sea, and sometimes, the ship disappears all first. I've seen other times though where the ship just keeps going and going and going until it like floats off into space.
Right. It kind of breaks up or dissolves.
It's 4 to 5 miles out and nothing sank. I've also driven on long desert roads and watched cars sink into the ground, wheels first. And then I arrived the same place on a very long flat road, and presumably my car disappeared to the guy behind me. I mean, I come to the conclusion that ships go over the curve the same way cars sink into the ground on the desert road.
Right. I'm going to show people a video real quick here if I can
But there
find
must be a correlation between that atmospheric distortion issue and curvature math.
Well, that's what's so weird is that, and that's why when that guy asked who would be in charge of this lie or whatever, and I hate to say the word science because science is not a person; it's a,
right.
But I think that if you picture science, who did come out against the church hundreds of years ago, and said no, it's a ball, and boats go over the curve, and so the whole world started to move in that direction. If they would have ever realized at any point that they were wrong, it would have been something that they would have had to keep, that they couldn't let out that they were wrong about, because if they did, then they would have handed everything back to the church. They would have been like telling everybody, oh, we've been wrong, so science isn't all that we've been building it up to be. So they just said, we got to keep going with this. And I don't know who they are, because they probably was 100 years ago, 200 years ago. But that's what seems like has happened, is that they're just going to keep... they have to keep it going, because it's just like what Mark said. What would happen if people found out tomorrow that the Earth was flat? I mean, everybody who holds any kind of science job at all would be out of a job.
Yeah. I think, well, I mean, my position on Bible. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 is talking about the beast, the Antichrist system.
Mm-hmm.
And it says, because you don't have a love of the truth, and in that context, I would say it's God's truth, God sends a strong delusion. So in other words, he's saying, okay, you don't want to believe me? You want to believe the beast system? Great. I'll send you a delusion such that everything you see is going to confirm your bias.
Right.
That's why I believe there's a correlation. It's like we can go out there and do all the same tests and come to a completely different conclusion. I mean, this goes back to the evolution debate, too. You got a scientist and a creationist standing at the rim of the Grand Canyon, right? And the scientist is like, oh, the Colorado River carved this over millions of years. And the creationist goes, wow, the Grand Canyon was carved in about 30 minutes with the flood, the flood of Noah.
Right.
I mean, if you ever take a garden hose, and spray it into the ground, you can create your own mini Grand Canyon in a couple of seconds, right? We saw Mount St. Helens blow up and create its own little mini canyon, what's that, back in the 80s, So what are you going to believe first, right? If you come from a Big Bang evolutionary mindset, everything for you is billions and billions of years ago, Carl Sagan, right? If you come from a biblical worldview, then everything's, fits quite well within a 6,000-ish year time frame with a worldwide flood. So yeah, I think it starts with your belief, honestly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's when most people that are science believers or that's their, what they hold on to, their belief, I want to call it belief, but they have a hate or a dislike for anything religious or anything supernatural. It's kind of what puts you in that place. And I know that firsthand because after I got jaded with the church, that's where I went. That's who's there with open arms telling you, come here, all we do is tell the truth. All we do is, evidence, and all we have is fact-based. And when you go over there and you realize that it's just another church, but the way I realized that is because I went into forums to argue with really Christians, but I saw that the people who argue on behalf of science they didn't have a clue what they were arguing about. They just were arguing against religion. And so I think when the flat earth comes along, they're just not going to listen. It's because they have a dislike for religions, and I could see why, or I could see why at least, I don't want to be in a world that the Catholic Church has run for the last 300 years either. But it doesn't mean that we keep hiding the truth. At this point, the truth has got to come out. I'm showing a video real quick here from Phuket Word's channel. I think it only has 7,000 views. I'm going to ask him if I can put it on my channel because I think it's so important. We're looking at a bridge, a straight bridge, and you'll see here as he lowers the camera that you have I'm trying to make sure this is still playing here. Yes. You have the horizon line, which actually creeps all the way forward. And if you can see my mouse, this little area here, if you picture the water we were just looking over, this area here looks like the horizon line, looks like where the road is, but that's not. That's a false horizon, and we'll see that when we raise up here in a second. And this is exactly what's happening. You've seen these Soundly videos, or the Soundly, images that show curvature, he calls it, on Lake Pontchartrain. And this is the exact same thing we're seeing here from these railings. It's not curvature. The railings aren't curving down. This is your perspective view of this road, which is straight. Now watch this when he raises up. Look where the horizon line is. So about where my mouse is here. He's showing that the horizon line is up here. So this whole line of convergence here, this whole band, is what is the reason why when you started to raise that balloon on the shore of the Salton Sea there, they didn't see it till it was well higher. So watch when he raises up here. We'll see how the road kind of reveals itself. Give it 1 second. And you'll see that this band of convergence is clearly what they were dealing with today. And Rob predicted it right at the beginning. He said they're going to see what they want to see because they're seeing this as being the real horizon line. They're saying, well, there must be a hump of water. Now watch when we rise up here shortly. Oh, he's showing this view over here. People have seen this view, just like Rob was talking about with the Skunk Bay. You actually see this is just a mirrored image from the hillside behind it. This is not where the actual water line is. This is a reflection in the atmosphere above the water here. So now he comes back out of this, and I think does a great job. Yeah, this one here. So watch this line. Look at all this road back here. So pretend this is water. We're looking over water, just like they are at the Salton Sea. And watch what happens here when he zooms out, and then he's going to zoom down. Watch this road. Look at all this hill here, or all this road, and we're going to lower down, I believe. Go down. Okay, now watch this road. And it disappears, 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 and you get this line of convergence. Look at that. So we just lost all that road, and that's exactly what happened today. Is picture that being water, and then somebody on the other side of that road is rising up balloons until we can see them. Well, we wouldn't see them, and we would say, oh, that's curvature? No, you can look at these other examples of roads like this, straight shots. Look how short this is. So over 9 miles of water, you're going to get that same thing. Look at the road disappear here. So hopefully people see that you have to be able to look at evidence and not just fall for the evidence that's handed to you. I mean, there's got to be no easier job in the world than to argue on behalf of the globe. They've stuck evidence everywhere and just said, this is how you explain it. This is how, I mean, the way that they talk about special relativity or general relativity, they'll just change it up on you and say, oh, no, that's not special. That's actually general relativity. So it's like, wait, we get to pick and choose which world we live in when we need to explain certain things. And that's how they do everything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And like the atmosphere works as a lens until you're a flat earther and say, yeah, it does like a lens. Check this out. Oh, no.
Yep. Yeah, and they want to keep saying that things are rising up somehow. They're, those buildings in Chicago, I feel like we lost the real meaning behind that you shouldn't see them at all. And Rob, you went and saw them. They're right there. It's the buildings.
Yeah.
It wasn't a mirage. It's the actual buildings. They're there, just like the actual mountain of Canigao is seen from 175 miles away when it should be, another mile or mile and a half below the line. And they just say, oh, no, the sun's raising it up. And if you're going to believe that, then you'll never see the truth. You're just going to, because there is no other example of that. We can't get any kind of test to show that. So here we see.
Show the pipes in the boat.
Huh?
Disappear. They're about to do this experiment where they're gonna put one of us, my friend, in a boat, and
Right.
then they're gonna the stripes disappear bottom up as they go out in the water. But we're trying to figure out what language to use to say to them. Of course, that happens, from the heat or.
Okay, watch. I'll show you. I'm showing everybody a video right now so they can see what exactly is going to happen on this road.
We can't see it on our end.
Oh, okay. I'm just going to talk about it real quick. Well, on this road that we're looking at, there's a biker that's going to start riding his bike. Here he is here. So what you're about to see is exactly what they're going to see on this particular experiment. Is this biker... Did I lose it? There it is. Sorry. This biker is going to ride away, and we're going to see his feet start disappearing from the bottom up. Now his bike's getting eaten up. And this is if you watch any videos of any boats going over the curve or going out to the horizon, this is what you see. Now you'll see that so again, according to them, they would do this test and they would say, oh, this guy's going over the curve of this road.
Exactly what they're saying is going to happen. But how do we tell them that there's a different reason for it?
Well, frankly, it doesn't matter what you tell them.
Right.
They're not.
But I want to say it because I can just say it.
Well, what I've been telling them is to check out. There's a video online, Skunk Bay. It's some kind of water, kind of like area like this, where there was a camera set, just stationary camera, getting a time lapse of the lake all day long.
Yeah.
And because the temperature was changing throughout the day, see that light area on the other side over there?
Yes.
We can see that right now.
Yes.
But pretend that's Skunk Bay. And in the time lapse, let's say a half hour to an hour from now, because it's getting warmer, that'll be completely gone. You'll see the lake will look like it's above that dark area, right? And so you'd say, well, either that town is getting flooded several times a day, or there's something else going on with the water.
Do we have language for it? Is it
nothing that they will?
No, it's hard to it's hard to explain.
Nothing that they will listen to.
There's no specific words we have for what it is. We just know
Well, you can say that a person riding his bike away on a straight bridge or path would also disappear from the bottom up. The bike would start to disappear from the bottom up.
Perspective.
Yeah, it's perspective, but
it's kind of a mirage in this case. That is a mirage.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do my best.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So in this video I'm showing here, you can see this.
Oh no, but I want to put up
Put up a fight.
Yeah, I'm not gonna just take it.
So when people see this, they think that this is like the sail of a boat, and they say, oh, the sail goes down last. Well, no, this is just the guy's shirt riding off into the distance. So I just wanted to show that. That's exactly what we see. You can see here the sun setting, and you can see here this is where the water line is, way up here. And this is a reflection that you're seeing, and then the hard water line. So it's kind of seen everywhere, and yet they just have their own way of explaining it.
Hey, this is a good disclaimer.
Let me get over here.
Maybe we keep this and copy it.
Let me get over there. Okay, go.
It says, National Geographic is production notice, filming in progress. Please note the representatives of National Geographic Studios and Wilson producer will be filming in this area between 5 a.m. and 3 p.m. today. By entering the area, you consent to your voice and likeness being videotaped and used without compensation or exploitation in any and all media now known or hereafter devised without limitation, and your release producer, its successors, assigns, and licensees from any liability on account of such user. If you do not wish to be recorded as outlined above, please do not enter this area. Thank you very much for your cooperation and attention. I have to remember that one.
It's one of those places where you're like,
so we can posting that one. Did the boat leave yet?
What's that?
Did the boat leave yet?
No, not yet. Looks like they're still talking.
But that's what they're going to say.
Here.
Oh, I don't envy you. Like I said, we moved to Merced. I've been by the ocean my entire life, where in Salinas it was 70 degrees every day. And now we moved to Merced, where it's like 105 every day. And luckily, you know what's crazy is this is the first house I've ever lived in my life with air conditioning.
Oh.
Which is pretty strange, I know. But I can see how you can become a homebody with air conditioning. Like every day you're saying, I'm staying home today.
Dude,
Staying home today.
That's me in Texas, man. I'm either in the air conditioning or in a pool. That's about it.
I got to build a pool, but yeah, since I don't have a pool here, it's pretty much in the air conditioning. It's like, do you want to go to the store? Nah, I'm in the house today.
I'm in the AC.
I'm in the AC today. So where's the boat? Show us the little dinghy.
Right here.
That little tiny red boat.
This green boat.
Oh, there it is, green. Jeez, I was looking at the thing to the left. And then what's that little? That's their little marker.
This is the flag that they're taking out there, which is cool. It looks like it has about foot wide. This is actually a test that I put together in a video a long time ago and said needed to be done. So they're actually doing it. But I always talk about doing it over land, not water, for obvious reasons. My suggestion in an early video, this is like back in, I want to say June maybe of 2015, so like a month or two after I got into it. I said, it seems to me a simple test would be to get a piece of 4x8 sheet of plywood and paint stripes, 1-foot stripes on it, and just go 3 miles away and see how many stripes are missing. But they're doing that test over water.
Yeah, and over water again, it's just like what we just saw in that video. I think you're going to see it disappear from the bottom up. And again, that's
Samuel Robenham did the same thing on the what do you call it? What was the name of the canal?
Bedford level.
Level, yeah, Bedford, 6 miles.
Mm-hmm. And they could see it the whole way, but they had a telescope.
On
right?
the water.
Yeah. And they had to make sure it was a cold day. I think they tried it first, and it didn't quite come out right. Yeah. The hard part is, I mean, this is where I always think that they have all these answers. I mean, if you're going to believe in the globe, again, how easy is it to argue something where you just say, well, it's being pulled to the center no matter where you are, because then you have to believe that if you built your backyard shed and used a level and leveled it off and built your shed, and then your neighbor built one right next to you, and then your neighbor built one right next to him, and everybody used a level and everybody levels it off, that you would eventually end up where you started after going upside down. That's what you have to believe, that somehow the levels just add a bunch of levels together and they equal not level.
That's why the force the line idea was brilliant on one hand. On the other hand, it's going to take a lot of material to go several miles. But having a square and a level.
Right. Well, what I tried to do, and I still think it's a good experiment. I just don't know where we get the equipment. Huh?
You were trying to do the same thing basically with lasers shooting through holes or something, right?
Right. Yeah, because if if you have a certain hole a certain size above the water line, and you can put 3 or 4 of those panels together and you can thread the needle, I guess call that rather than force the line, it'd be thread the needle. Right. Because you wouldn't be able to do that on a curved surface. And same problem is that once you've gotten through 2 panels or so, then the next panel, the beam is too large to determine whether or not it made it through the panel. Right. So it's hard to find that experiment that I think would show one way or the other. And again, that's why this experiment, I wanted to be there to see what they were going to do, but I also ultimately knew it wasn't going to show anything. I thought it was going to show. I thought they would see the balloon earlier, but that's all. But I knew why they wouldn't if they didn't. And people might look at that and say, "Oh, well, you'll just say that with every experiment." No, it's like, no, we're trying to find that experiment that can't be taken in different ways.
It doesn't have yeah, but.
Right.
Because you always end up with a yeah, but.
Right.
That was a frustration for me, was because I just wanted to know what the truth was. I didn't care either way. I loved the beloved spinning ball, Star Trek, Star Wars. I love all that stuff.
You should tell people, a lot of people don't know this, but I remember from an early interview that you wanted to be an astronaut.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I still have drawings that my mother saved that I drew like in 5th grade, and it was all rockets, Apollo, everything. That was all. That's why I joined the military. It's why I learned fly helicopters in the first place. Was because I wanted to be an astronaut. So I loved all that stuff, man. I had the Jim Irwin came through my church and signed a picture of him allegedly on the moon that said, "Reach for your dreams, Rob. Aim high." And that picture was literally right above my computer monitor until like 2 years ago.
Now it's in the trash.
Yeah, positive. You know, but yeah. So I didn't want to let go of my spinning ball any more than anybody else did, you know. So all the tests that I was doing were so frustrating because I found that there was always a few dozen yeah buts
Right.
for everything.
Yeah.
And on both sides. You know what I mean? It's like if you're arguing for the globe, well, you can say, well, yeah, but this. And if you're arguing for flat Earth, you say, well, yeah, but that. And I was like, oh, man.
And I think one of the simple observations that people need to make is for something's taught to 6-year-olds and something so obviously true as the globe, then it should be a lot easier to prove. There shouldn't be so many things that can be taken in any way possible. It's just, to me, it just is too simple for them to get away with saying, well, yeah, the reason that we don't feel the Earth spinning is because we're part of the atmosphere. Well, why don't planes get there faster? Oh, because the planes are moving with the atmosphere. But then, if everything's, then what would happen if, you know, God, for example, came and just shook the Earth? Would none of us know because we're all moving with the atmosphere? So the whole Earth would shake and we would shake with it? At what point do you draw the line and say, no, that's not what happens? And I mean, really...
Well, that was the problem with the Coriolis effect for me, because as a helicopter pilot, I mean, the first thing you learn to do is hover.
Right.
That's what you do. So you spent a lot of time 3 feet above the Earth. You know what I mean? You're like, you got to perfect the 3-foot hover.
Right.
So, but then you got the Coriolis guys, long-range shooters, saying, well, we got to correct, you know, to the left or right or whatever because of the alleged spin of the Earth. And I'm going, but your bullet goes downrange at however fast in 1 second for a mile. You're telling me in that 1 second the Earth moves so much to the left or right, you had to adjust for it?
Yeah.
How come I can't just hover my helicopter 3 feet above the ground in Massachusetts and wait for New York to show up? You know?
Right.
And oh, that's because the helicopter's in the atmosphere and the atmosphere is going with the Earth. Okay, so if the atmosphere is traveling with the planet at 1,000 miles an hour and a plane can only go 500 miles an hour, and how's it rotating this way, how could you ever fly, let's see, east, I think. Right?
Yeah, and same thing with the bullet, right? Why isn't the bullet then moving with the atmosphere? Why? If they say we can't feel anything from the movement, we're spinning, but we don't feel it for whatever reason. But then they want to bring in and say the Coriolis effect is because of the spin. Well, what do you mean? I thought we didn't feel it.
Yeah, like so. If the Earth is rotating this way, when you fly that way, it should be an exponential difference.
Right. You should never get there. Like you should never
get there quicker because that way's coming towards you.
Right.
Right. At 1,000 miles an hour, and you're flying 500 miles an hour toward it.
Right.
You know. So you should get there way faster flying that way. But if you're flying in the same direction as the Earth is spinning,
right.
And the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, and you're in the air that's Velcroed to it somehow, not being sucked out into the vacuum of space, and you're only going 500 miles an hour, how could you ever arrive at your destination if you're flying in the same direction as a spin?
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
These are the early questions that I'm like, how does that work?
Yeah, and they all just start adding up. And then when you start going back into the history and you see the things that Edwin Hubble did and other people who, you know, they basically were given observationally 2 or 3 different things that could have been true, and they chose one of them, the one that completely removed importance, the one that completely removed a centrality of the Earth, and then just went with the other one. And people say, no, it's science. It's like, yes, well, scientifically they observed something and they chose a certain path, but that's not science to say, I'm going to choose to go this way and ignore the other one completely. And it's coming back to bite them. That's what people don't realize is dark matter, dark energy, gravitational lensing, gravitational waves. All this is because of the nonsense that started when they said we're not the center.
Yeah.
It's all built up since then.
They're asking people if they pay for their parking.
Oh, you're about to get arrested.
Hey, man. Are we paying for parking or something? Yeah. Okay. How much is it? 5?
7.
Okay. You have change?
7 for flat earthers.
Yes, 7 for. That's 10 for flat earthers.
Here's $2.
And I'll take those 2 anyway.
Let me see if I have change on this.
Yeah, that'll work. Thank you. Do I have a pass or something I can put in the window?
Yeah,
I guess?
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, sorry about that. I wasn't sure what to do when I scanned through.
Oh, you paid a permit?
Yeah, we did a permit on it.
How come you didn't tell me yet?
Oh, we're under permit.
Refunds. Refunds.
I'll give you your $2.
Hey, Rob, I'm going to use the restroom real quick.
Did you get that live?
Rob, I'm going to use the restroom real quick, so you got about 2 minutes to be by yourself.
Okay.
All right.
Cool. There you go. Yeah, thank you.
I got CRISPR tuned this time.
Yeah.
So
I gotta check my battery on my phone here.
Okay, so here's the part that borderlines on suck.
Suck factor 4.
The suck factor is, all right, they're going to go out supposedly 3 miles, right? Well, that little electric motor there with 2 people in it going against the wind is going to be lucky if it does 3 miles an hour, which means it's going to
take a little while.
It's going to take them. If it takes them an hour to get out 3 miles.
So we just sit up here and watch.
Yeah, I know. Do we sit there and we wait? Are we seriously going to wait for an hour? And then what? Because why would we stay for an hour and watch? Because we know exactly. Look, we predicted everything so far. This will be no different. The boat's going to go out there, and at 3 miles, wait, what's 3? 72. 6 feet, you won't be able to see the boat.
Yeah.
But at 3 miles.
But Robenham did this on 6 miles. Samuel Robenham.
Yeah.
He did this 6 miles. I always forget the name.
What?
Bedford level.
Oh, the Bedford level. Right.
Yeah, that was 6 miles. It's the same test, except he put a telescope like right on the water.
Right.
Oh well.
So whatever. I don't think I can break camp until they go out there, and they'll probably ask for a closing statement. And I'm still mic'd.
Yeah. Oh, they got a microphone on?
Yeah. But I've been voicing my displeasure.
Well, what are you gonna do?
It's like I will say this, Justin, if you're listening. I told you initially. I go, I don't want to come out to this stupid test. We've done this test a lot. All rookie flat earthers that.
The news told me if Jaron can confirm that road is 20 feet high, that they'll let me do it in review.
at the same level each time.
Sure. Full disclosure, he's one of my best friends. Okay. He's not a flat earther. Okay. I trust him. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
We're concerned about how long it's going to take a boat to go out there 3 miles.
Me too. Did you see that motor?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry. What was that again?
Okay, so the news just told me that if Jaron can confirm, or if I can figure out how to confirm that that road is 20 feet high, that they'll put me on camera saying that I proved
Oh.
I'm back.
Jaron,
I'm back.
there?
Yeah.
Jaron? Hey, let's go. What was your name again? Sydney. Sydney has a question for you.
So you said the road was 20 feet high, but I came back and the skeptics group said they don't think so. They don't think so. But the news guy told me if we can confirm that that road, the highway, was 20 feet high, he'll put me on camera showing that I proved flat Earth because I caught the semi in full detail and even land underneath.
So the only problem is, what direction were you looking?
I was looking.
Well, the same general direction. There's a road. She was looking pretty close to that.
It was in this mountain. There's a little bit.
Part of the mountain? Yeah. So
You're breaking up.
that's where you're looking at.
And
So where was it in comparison with the balloon?
It's the area where they were, pretty close to the same area where the balloon test was.
Okay, let me look at the road there.
yeah. Because I caught the full semi and even land. And I caught some other stuff too.
Well, yeah, I could see that. That's got to be. It's got to be more than 20
That's
feet,
like kind of saving it because they're saying that they saw the balloon rising up out of the mirage. Like
yeah, but they were out right on the shoreline. That would be their argument. Is the shoreline is ground zero.
Okay, so the shore, the shore, according to this, or where they were, is about negative 222. Is that what you guys are at too? Let me see if it's the same on both sides.
Because the road is 10 miles away, I calculated that, and that should be a 50-foot drop.
Wait, a 10
At
the road the road is 10 miles away from the shore?
From us.
From me?
From us.
Oh, got you. Okay, sorry, I thought you were 10. I didn't know what you meant. Yeah, so you guys are at negative 230.
From me, to the, so it should be 50-foot drop for that road.
Okay, so they have the water at 230 and negative 230, sorry. And where they were letting that balloon up, if they were right, I don't know where they're at on this path, but it's always about 230. Then it gets to going negative 225, and then when you get up to the road, if you're talking about right behind them, the road is negative 200, so that's 30 feet. And
30 feet.
But then going off to the right, it goes to negative 210, which would be 20 feet. Then it goes to negative 215, which is 15 feet. But that's to the right. You're saying you saw it to the left?
Yeah, to the left, or to the south.
Yeah, and that would be.
From
It,
our perspective.
It was at the sort of at the bottom of. I have the footage, so you can review it. But it's like at the left side of the mountain.
Yeah. Right.
negative 170. Oh, I'm trying to see if this is 270.
Is it okay? I'm trying to confirm.
60, 170. I don't know why this doesn't look like it's. Let me see this.
Man, it's gonna get hot real quick.
I think there was land under it too. I got to go back and look at that footage.
Well, as you go off to the left, it looks like it's getting uphill more and more.
Oh.
But
so they'll just say.
Yeah, it just depends how far you're talking, because it does stay at 20 or 30 feet for a while.
I'll take a screenshot of my of the camera, maybe.
I mean, Rob, if she points it out to you, remember that place where the light mountain met the dark mountain?
Yeah.
How far compared to that?
It right about where their location is. I mean, that's what. If I understand what you're saying, it was the road right behind where they were, like pretty darn close to their area.
Okay.
How about this? I'm gonna. If I see land underneath, I'm just gonna do an interview.
Well, just do the interview and say, what is it between 10 and 30 feet or something? Is the difference?
Yeah, and you could even say it could be 40 feet if you go way off to the left.
Oh well, okay, that's still. It's supposed to be a 50.
It should be completely. Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Let me draw a line there.
Go get rock.
Thank you.
Who's going to interview her? Who'd she say?
A news.
Oh.
Local news, I think.
Let me see here.
Local news.
Yeah, actually, you know, you know what? It's 11 miles to where she's talking about from where you are.
Oh.
Let me see where 11 miles difference is. I don't know if that's.
You knew that they could see it
when it was on the ground.
When it was on the ground. When we.
Josh.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
When we found it, we had the balloon on the ground. Me and Josh, during FaceTime. I FaceTimed him. We found each other with the balloon on the ground.
Early in the morning.
Yeah, when we first started.
Yeah, when it was like 65 degrees still. 68.
No, when it was.
Or before the sun came up. Or
Okay,
after.
when you guys couldn't find us and then you found us, that's when we found each other. When you were looking. Yeah.
But he's saying that they only saw it at 45 feet high.
No, then we raised it up and they saw it, and then we walked towards the shore and they said they couldn't see it.
Huh.
But we found it when they were on the ground at like 50.
But that was early in the morning, huh?
Yeah, well, that's just it. If you.
Oh, we lost you.
Long before it was over. I mean, again, we've lost. And that's the curvature.
Yeah.
It's like,
So what I'm
so
saying
why-
is we found each other when we were on the ground.
I know.
They're trying to say that
Was that recorded? Did anybody see?
I was literally holding the balloon, FaceTiming with Josh, looking behind me at the road. By the way, he could see it, the details in the cars in the highway
Driving,
behind us.
right.
And that was how I was able to guide him. Looking at the highway, see the Houston.
What-
I saw the car over here. I was able to
What was he looking through?
It was
A Nikon
we
or?
were FaceTiming because Nikon.
He's a
They're
P900.
gonna put that flag on that boat.
Yeah. It's gonna make a sailboat.
It's gonna be a sailboat.
It's gonna be a sailboat. This should be fun. That's why I wasn't going on the boat.
And again, if somebody was at that perpendicular position, they should see this go over a mountain.
Yeah. where they're going to try to row their little dinghy over a 40-foot water mountain with their sailboat.
Man, it's scary. It's a crazy belief once you've gone there. It's like those pictures that like the water that you were on when you went to Chicago. I mean, how is that water not pouring onto the shore of Chicago?
Right. Yeah, right. Gravity.
Yeah, gravity. There it is. I have this little game somebody bought me a while back called Universe Sandbox, where you can play with the globe and do whatever. You can look from outside, but it just hits me as crazy when you really pull your camera away from the Earth and you put it in real time, that it's just sitting there. And it's like when you think of how heavy the Earth would be with every body of water, every person, and that's just the crust. We have no idea what even would be in it if it was a ball. But just to picture it just sitting there in space, you're like, what? How could it just sit there? What is holding it up? And they'll say, gravity, of course, but it's just such nonsense. Look at the moon next time it's in the sky and think to yourself, is that moon falling to the Earth, but it's falling so slow it takes a month to go around it? Like, what?
That's actually a good point. I was listening to this pastor who had become a flat earther, and one of the scriptures people use is Job 26:7, I think is the address, where it says he hangs the earth on nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And first, I have used myself. Many people will. They believe in the globe. They'll see, the earth's floating in space. It's hanging on nothing. And this pastor's like, well, no, it would have to be hanging on gravity.
Mm-hmm.
According to your model, it's hanging on the gravity of the sun.
Right.
So you can't even use that verse.
Right.
Like, they only have two verses. You have Isaiah 40:22, the circle of the earth, circle, not ball.
Which is a terrible one, yeah.
It's a terrible one. And Job 26:7. Those are the only two. Flat earthers, I think, are up to like 200 now.
Yeah.
By comparison. But even that one, that hangs the earth on nothing, doesn't work because it would have to be hanging on the gravity of the sun.
Right. Yeah, no, when you're talking scripture, there's just, even the Quran, I mean, there's just no...
Well, multiple religions.
Yeah.
Well, everybody 4,000 years ago, for 2,000, yeah.
Well, at least that's just because they weren't sat in desks and indoctrinated with a belief before they were old enough to think.
Yeah, Pythagoras... Actually, have you looked into him?
Yeah, he's not even real, most likely.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. I'm like, everything is he's like this mythical creature,
Yeah, they don't know any of these guys' history or anything. They just show up in books and then they call it a fact because there's another book written later that's written about him. But if you really put yourself back in time to 1600, when the printing press just came out, if there was ever a time that you could construct a fabricated history, that's it. Yep. You just put it in books, and then you construct a timeline based on those books. And there's only one or two copies of them, and and they're always talking about somebody's works that don't exist now. Like it's Aristophanes. Everyone talks about his experiment, but his work is not. There's no such thing. You have to copy of a copy.
Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about that, and of course Carl Sagan.
Nope, we lost you. Snap back.
When it was in...
We're losing you.
The way to have proved that would have been to have another location. I think it was to the south. I think he was in Syene, and if I remember right, Alexandria was to the north.
Correct.
The proof would have been to have another location to the south, the same distance as the one in Alexandria, to prove that. But he didn't. But Tyson just threw that out there like, this is the proof. It's like, well, but nobody. It's like the other argument. Well, you can do a 90-degree triangle on a ball. So,
right.
That 90-degree triangle would have to be 1,500 miles long.
Or longer. Yeah.
Who's ever done that? Just because you could draw a triangle on a ball doesn't mean that the Earth is a sphere.
Well, no, it's like
put a circle inside a triangle. That doesn't mean it's a pyramid.
Right. And it's like that guy said, after he was saying the results of his test, and he said, well, and we use GPS, which of course only works on a ball. It's got to be the most classic mistake.
Satellites.
Yeah, I mean, but it's so funny because anybody could take a sheet of paper, draw some continents on it, and if you said, oh, we want to fake these people on this piece of paper and make them think they're on a ball, you could wrap it on a ball and create a grid system with GPS that would tell people where they're at, and that's that. It would be done. That's what exists. Once you've done GPS, here they go. Once you've done GPS, then that's what it is.
I was in. Okay, it had to be, I think, the end of May 2015, so 1 month after getting into Flat Earth. I'm in San Diego, and I think it was the USS Midway, maybe. I don't. Do you know what ship is? It's a aircraft carrier that's in San Diego. I think it's Midway.
Carl Vinson? I don't know.
Whatever it was, I went on the tour, and the guy that was giving the tour, I happened to be standing next to the GPS device. I didn't know that, but I was there, and then he said, "See that device right there by that young man standing there?" And blah blah blah. I said, "That's the GPS device," and a lot of people don't know this, but all GPS in the world is controlled by the United States.
Yeah, the United States military.
I got him on video saying that, like, wow, okay, so all GPS that everybody in the world uses happen to be controlled by the United States.
Right. Yeah, and that's the thing. That's why my beliefs about the Southern Ocean are that there is a vast amount of ocean there that we don't know about, and it's just not mapped. And I was looking into it. I couldn't get to the end of it, but MH370, when that got lost, my idea is that it dunked into the Southern Ocean, where technically by GPS's standards it doesn't exist. So when you're out there with your machinery and you're driving around looking for this boat, this plane, you're not going to find it, because you're not going to go. And people don't know how hard it would be to actually measure distances anyway in the ocean. It's not easy at all. In fact, what you would have to do is you'd take the land, you would know the land distances, and then you would wrap it in a ball, and then the oceans would figure themselves out. Meaning that whatever it is when you've drawn it out on your mathematics, that's what the ocean is, even if it's not. That's just what they had to go with. And that things that explain, prove that are like there's no undersea cables in the South. Going from Australia to South America, none of that. It goes all the way up by Philippines across to the United States and then drops down.
And all internet is underwater. I just posted a video on Facebook, I think just a couple of days ago. Dude, it's going to take them at the rate that they're going.
What, that's as far as they've gotten?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
When do you fly out of there?
I'm actually here till Thursday.
Oh, you got a couple more days.
Not at this location. I'm heading back to LA on Monday, doing follow-up stuff with some writers on Seed.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, got some other script writers I'll be working with. That's gonna be pretty awesome.
So, do you have any other? Have you come up with any tests that you think could
on Flat Earth?
Yeah.
Actually, I did. I gotta think of what it was. I'm always thinking about this, man. I've not been making videos on it because I'm working on Seed. It never leaves you, man. And we must be reaching some sort of critical mass, because I'm sure you've noticed it in the last 2 months. There've been a lot of like mainstream science media outlets putting out videos. Why we know the Earth's a globe.
Yep.
Like all of a sudden that's the thing to do. But they're all saying the exact same pre-programmed responses.
Yeah,
they're
of course.
All of them are saying the same thing, and I'm going crazy over here because I'm thinking, I gotta make a video.
I know I'm so backlogged on videos I have to make because of all these people that are out just saying nonsense, and it's not like we're
if somebody was actually paying us, you could make a career out of just making these videos.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. You could do this full time if you, had people that wanted to see it. But the problem that I'm seeing is that too many people just believe whatever the news says, and that's, I'm not sure I can change that. So it's like I just want that test that we can just show them that and go on, and I don't have that test yet. Have you seen much of this talk about the perspective idea with the curvature?
I don't know.
So,
what is it?
Okay, so you know how, and I guess Chicago's a hard way to describe it because, but those buildings that we're looking at across the water there from Michigan, if you were to take into account in the curvature calculator what size those buildings would be after perspective, don't you think you would have to take that into account? And let me explain why. So if we lived in a world, Rob, where things got bigger with distance, right? So we live in a world where things get smaller with distance. But imagine for just a second that things actually got larger perspective-wise with distance. Well, if somebody said whether or not we could see those buildings in Chicago, the first thing you would ask is, well, how big do they appear to be? Because they get bigger with distance, and that makes a difference of whether or not we can see them over the hump. So isn't the opposite true, that it makes a difference as to what size they appear to be because they get smaller?
Well, I mean, I've done several videos. Are you getting an echo?
Nope.
I'm getting an echo. Okay. Let me turn this down. For some reason, I'm hearing myself. In some of the elaboration videos that I did on our Chicago skyline test that Rick Hummer and I did in June of 2016, there was some footage that we shot on the pier right next to where we first pulled out. We went back to that location after we ate dinner, and the city was so magnified. I mean, it was huge, and we could see it without our cameras. I mean,
right.
When we put T900 on it, I mean, of course, it was massive. But I captured a shot where there was a boat, because there was like a levee or something that was like about a mile away from our location.
I remember seeing that video, yeah.
Yeah, there's a sailboat about another mile or so beyond that. And so you had the shot with the sailboat right here, and then you have like the Chicago Sears Tower or whatever, Willis Tower, right behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was huge. I mean, the thing was just huge. Now, that's a zoom issue on a camera.
Mm-hmm.
But what I did was I zoomed the camera back and then did a digital zoom.
Mm-hmm.
So when I pulled the camera back to pretty close to, it was a 35 millimeter, ish lens, pretty close to your eye. And it looked about what my eye could see. In the computer, I then blew it up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just enlarging the actual image. It was still significantly magnified.
Right.
I think it was huge. And that's when I came to the conclusion, and then the weatherman actually validated it when he went to the optics.
Absolutely.
And said, well, the atmosphere is acting like a lens, and like the light bulb goes off. Bing! Well, of course, if it's full of moisture is microscopic spherical balls of water.
Right.
A spherical ball of water is going to create a convex lens, which would be a magnifying glass.
Right.
So, how does the sun disappear? Well, you saw the videos I did with making sunrise and sunset on a flat table with a magnifying glass.
Yep.
It solved a lot of problems.
No, and I think that, even that video with the scientist, I always play it because he doesn't even sound like he knows what he's like struggling with saying it. It's just what he was taught, but he can't really get it out or make any sense of it. And then he does that little experiment where he puts a magnifying glass at the end of that little bookcase or whatever. And we forget, people don't see that there's no water between that magnifying glass and the buildings on the wall. And if the water was there, then what would you see? You would see water magnified covering the buildings on the wall. Well, exactly. They just forgot to put the water there, and so he says, what do you see? Oh, I see the buildings magnified. Well, it's the exact same thing you just saw today, is that the magnifying glass of the atmosphere above that water acts as a lens. It picks up what's right behind it, which is more water, which rises up to your eye level, which means you're going to be blocked from seeing that little balloon thing they put up there. And it's just, you can tell those guys till you're blue in the face, but they don't want anything else to be true.
Right.
It's not a matter of, you can't be that kind of scientist. And it's not, people may say, well, you guys want the earth to be flat. No, I want the truth that the earth is flat to come out. It's not a matter of, I really wish that it wasn't, because things were easier back when I didn't know what I know now. I mean,
way easier back then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you said. If you even you can even try and forget it for a day, or you can try but it's just everywhere you look, it starts to reveal itself with the clouds and the way they go off in the distance and how perspective works. And before you know it, and that's why this thing is growing and will continue to grow, is because people, once they hear about it, once they really look into it, they'll start seeing it everywhere. Again, unless you are somebody who's one of these guys, these skeptics who say they're part of the, international group of skeptics. But really, if you've joined a group like that, you have a hate for anybody speaking outside of the scientific paradigm, that everything is material and that we can explain everything. And, I've often thought, and I'm sure you've thought this before too, it could be that we're not meant to know what the moon and sun are, and that they're evidence of a creator and something far greater than us, But when somebody comes along and just tells you that this is its distance, it's a hydrogen ball, it's blowing fusion gas, then that could be a way of getting you to not see the fact that it's created. Because somebody's explained it to you in a way that you think is well documented or something.
I've been wanting, like I said, I mean, I see all these videos and I go crazy because I'm like, I gotta make a video about, I gotta debunk that, or I gotta. And Ken Hoban's driving me nuts right now. And he's actually gone on the offensive. I don't know if you've been following any of his stuff, but he's partnered up with this guy Michael Rood, and they've put out a whole video series. I ordered it on DVD. It's attempting to debunk flat Earth, but all of his arguments are so pathetic.
Right.
But at the same time, when he starts talking, when he goes in his wheelhouse and starts talking about the lies in the textbook, he's right on target.
Right.
And he did a segment on how triangulation. He's like, I taught trigonometry and I know how triangulation works. And if you know the distance between 2 points, you can calculate the third point. Well, the problem is it's impossible to calculate distance to a star using triangulation.
Right.
And he gave the example of, imagine you and I are standing in Houston or wherever, 16 inches apart.
Right.
And we're trying to triangulate on a building. Let's say hypothetically we could see Chicago.
Right.
The angle would be almost non-existent.
Right.
How could you calculate that, right? And you're trying to tell me you're calculating a star that's allegedly billions of light years away?
It's ridiculous.
When we are on a, he believes we're on a ball, but the equivalent of, a few inches apart.
Right.
What I mean? Looking at something.
In the grand scheme of things,
possible. Yeah. So he's actually proven our point because he does this whole thing on how the science makes up the lies about, redshift and this, that, and the other thing.
That's what I don't understand is how he doesn't see that. I mean, once you've made that concession that that science lies about this and that, I think you're talking about the same pastor that I saw the other day that was giving a sermon, right, on flat Earth.
Yeah.
And he started out to be.
Davidson posted it.
Yeah, I watched the same thing, and I liked how he addressed people at the beginning by saying, do you believe that science lies about evolution? Do you think?
Yeah, that guy.
Right, and then he leads to the question of, well, do you think that they lied about where you live? And less hands went up because that's the fact. Is if you've conceded, if you understand that, I mean, they're pulling dinosaur bones out of the ground that have, soft tissue in them, and these things are being by PhD scientists are trying to get this paperwork, and they're just being shut down and told, you send any more stuff to this lab to be dated, and we'll bar you for life. So people need to see science will lie, science will protect its paradigm. It has to. You have to put yourself in their position, your job, your money, your rich, your fame, you're Neil deGrasse Tyson, you're a big name in the world. You cannot let something come out that basically says everything you've ever said is wrong. I mean, you couldn't let it happen. And that's what these guys are trying to protect.
For anybody that has letters after their name,
right,
is they spent thousands of dollars to get certified by somebody else that they're smart, and to admit that they're wrong.
Yeah,
and even they've published.
Did you hear the Flat Earth podcast the other day? I was on with Dave and Curious Jay, and we had an astronaut son on.
Oh.
Yeah, it was interesting. We talked to him, but it's the same kind of thing. Is where that's even worse. Not only have you been indoctrinated like all of us have, but your dad, the hero, went to space, and we even asked him, like, did your dad ever call you from space? Nope. And we said, would your dad have told you if he was keeping a secret? And he even said no. That I was in third grade, he would have never told me. So I mean, it's just interesting. But go on. I interrupted you when you were talking about Hovind was, basically telling us giving our evidence for us.
Well, yeah, I have been passive. Get a bug up my nose. I've been passive or defensive for the most part when it comes to the attacks coming my way from the evangelical community, especially. I'm about to go on the offensive. I don't really have the time to do it, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it. I may just turn that into one of my talks at one of the upcoming conferences and do it that way. But, I mean, some of the arguments are so pathetic. Like I had this one guy, his name is Dr. Stephen Pigeon, who he created what they call the Sefer Bible, and it's basically all the books that they took out of the Bible, he put back in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's become a very popular, I mean, it's like really thick. I mean, it's got Enoch and all these other books in it. And, and he's a Hebrew scholar, a Greek scholar. He took the word, anywhere it says the word world in the Bible,
mm-hmm.
he changed it to globe to try to prove a point. To say, see, the Bible says the earth's a globe.
Mm-hmm.
And he used Strong's Concordance in Strong's, the Hebrew word is tabel, and you have the Strong's definition for it, and in the Strong's definition it says by extension the globe, but in context of the definition it means the inhabited land. It has nothing to do with sphericity.
Mm-hmm.
But here's this guy, Dr. Stephen Vidgen, trying to manipulate the text into saying something it absolutely does not say. And when the Hebrews took their own scriptures and translated it into the Greek, so you have Hebrews who understand their language, who understand their scriptures, taking their Hebrew scriptures and translating them to Greek, they are choosing the appropriate Greek equivalent word
Mhm.
for their understanding of the meaning. And when you look at that, it's inhabited land, you know. And I'm like, these guys, look, I got a high school degree, okay? I'm lucky, a diploma. I'm lucky I graduated. If you look at most of my textbooks, they have drawings of Rambo and Miami Vice, like in Terminator, you know. So I don't have any academic credentials to my resume. But I look at these guys who do have doctorate degrees. I'm like, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
The way we're handling this stuff. You know, why does it take a guy like me to have to show the truth?
Right.
In this situation, when their education and their credentials and credibility and all of that, they should be telling the truth.
Right.
And when Hovind, he's the guy who taught me that I
Right.
should take the Bible literally, and he's doing anything but that with all of this stuff, and half of his arguments work in my favor. You know, like,
Yeah.
dude, you say this, that's exactly what. With this triangulation, yeah, you're right. We shouldn't be able to triangulate on the stars. It's impossible. You can triangulate on the sun and moon. However, you can download the app Theodolite and do what my friend Mickey Hatfield did, and to have his buddy or his brother in Colorado. I think is in Denver. So my buddy's up in Washington State. His brother is in Denver. They take Theodolite, use the app to take a picture of the moon at the same time, put it in
Right.
the crosshair, take all the data from the software, put it on calculator.net, and every time they did it, it calculated by triangulation that the moon was less than 300 miles up.
Yeah, and when you put in the curvature of the Earth, then all of a sudden it goes up to whatever they say it is. But it's like, who told you to put that in?
Well, even he actually did it both ways. He did the math both ways.
Oh, really?
With curvature and without, and still you don't end up with a 250,000 miles. You know, I'll have to show you the papers on it.
Yeah.
He sent me all the details on it.
Well, one of the things people forget too is that they want to say that we can use triangulation on the sun or moon, but they're the same size in the sky. So unless you're given either the distance or size, then you wouldn't be able to come up with what the globe says anyway, because you would come up with the same thing.
Well, but in Zetetic astronomy, using a sextant, Samuel Robotham, however you say his name,
Mm-hmm.
gave several cases where ship captains or whatever using the sextant, that's where they came up with 35 miles across and 3,000 miles up or something.
Right.
That was whatever they came up with.
Because that's what it comes out to on a flat surface, right? But they would both be the same, wouldn't they? The sun and moon. How could you ever tell the difference?
Well, yes, size-wise from our observation.
Right.
Because they do look the same size.
Right. So there's no way to differentiate unless somebody comes along and tells you how far one is or how big one is. Then you can use that same math and you can get different numbers. But
well, sure, they say it's as big as they say it is. However many Earths are supposed to fit in it.
Right.
You'd have to put 93 million miles for all of that to work out.
And you need it to be 93 million miles for the rest of their math to work out as well. It's just a mathematical system.
I love that video you did recently where you had the magic squares boxes.
Oh yeah, you watched that?
Oh, dude, it was great, man. Yeah, where you're showing how the math can be made to fit.
Right.
Whatever you want.
Well, that's why I've always been somebody who said, and I know I've heard so many people say that math is divine, and I've always said that it's not. It's a human creation. That it can be. It's a language. It's just a way of describing things. Now, it's a more precise language than English or Spanish, or because it has to be exact, or else it doesn't work out. But like I said, with a fake amusement park, you can have all the distances to every ride and every trajectory of every ride and every angle every ride's at. You can hand that paperwork over to somebody and they can check your work and say, no, this is mathematically perfect. But the whole entire fantasy or the whole entire theme park is a lie. So the idea of space to me is the same thing. That I think once they had our visual angle at all these things, they could construct a system mathematically that works. And again, if you get there first, so you're NASA and you say, okay, as long as we get to space first and stay there, and we're the only ones that are up there, then nobody can ever disprove it, because it's impossible. You can't disprove it unless you can go to Mars and measure it, unless you can go to Saturn and measure it. And since none of us can, then you can't disprove, NASA, that's their world. They've already dictated how far everything is. And, people say, well, all these things work. Well, that's why they can never let anything come out that they haven't been to the moon, because if they haven't been to the moon, then who is the verification for the moon being the size that it is and the distance that it is? And so that's why they have to hold on to that one. And they'll fight it tooth and nail, because they have no other option. I mean, again, it's like...
Well, but they'll say, well, Apollo put the reflectors up there and we can bounce the laser off of it and tell. I'm like, well, they were bouncing lasers off of that thing in the 50s.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Before they did that.
Right, exactly.
So
like, how did they know the
clearly,
distance to get there in the first place if they didn't do that?
The Sea of Tranquility is probably just a known reflective area, more reflective than other areas. Maybe that's why they chose it,
Well, I'd be interested to see if you could get that reflection off any part of the sky.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
Because who knows
they
what's...
abandoned the boat idea.
No, they're back.
They're back.
That ain't gonna work.
I don't think they ever got more than like, I don't know, 50 feet offshore.
For a second, we could see behind you, and I didn't see the boat anymore. I'm like, man, they got out there pretty fast. But I guess we were looking at the wrong direction.
Yeah, I moved to I was like, trying.
They didn't go very far. Yeah,
No,
well, I don't think that test would have shown much, to be honest.
That much.
I don't think so. How do you still have battery left? What is that, the super battery?
Well, no, actually, I went and got one of these.
Oh, okay.
Did you see the video? My house caught on fire.
No, what?
Yeah, I think it was last weekend. 11 o'clock in the morning, Sheila and I wake up to our fire alarms going off. And I opened up the door of our bedroom, and our living room is completely covered in smoke.
What the hell?
And I looked down, and the end table right next to my couch was on fire. And fortunately, I had a fire extinguisher very close by, so I put it out. And then Sheila starts freaking out. She said, "Oh my God, your chair's on fire!" And my chair, it was my easy chair, was on the other side of the couch, was in flames. And after we put it all out, it was similar batteries to these I had on a charger, blew up.
No
And one of
way.
them, yeah, it shot. I put a video online. You can check it out on my YouTube channel. It's like a 3-minute video. one of the batteries shot like 8 feet across the room over the couch and landed on the chair that I was just watching the movie Avengers in like 7 hours earlier before I went to bed.
Were they a good brand, or was it like one of those Chinese knockoff ones?
Well, I don't know. I don't know anything about the brand, but
Right.
we bought it. We bought it at Costco. And they say you should never leave these things charging when unattended.
Right.
Well, I'm here to tell you. I mean, if we weren't there, and because stuff was flying in the air on fire.
Oh, it would have been, your house would be gone.
Yeah, the carpet was catching on fire.
Yeah.
So like literally in 10 more minutes, easy 10 minutes, it would have been totally gone.
Well, that's a lesson too for people who don't think it's important to have fire alarms and things like that, because you could have been trapped. You could have been, yeah.
Yeah, I actually went to Home Depot the next day and bought several more fire extinguishers, and I got fire alarms everywhere now.
That's scary, man.
Oh yeah, it was terrifying. I mean, that's a terrifying thing, dude. When you hear the smoke alarm going off and you open the door and the rest of the house is in smoke, you're like, what is happening? 10 more minutes, man.
Man, that's scary. Another thing I don't know, probably not going to do a video on it or just mention it, but I was looking into those security cameras for your house recently, and there's some, now they're getting like super cheap, like $100 you can get like a 4-camera system. But I found this website of this guy who's a security installer, and he basically has gone through those and tried to see how secure they are, and those cameras are showing up. Huh?
Being able to tap into them, you mean?
Yeah.
Like other
scary.
Other people watching.
Yeah,
other people watching.
There's websites of people's cameras that are all over the United States that they don't change the password and the the code that is like a preset. You know, you'll get it. Like, I'm sure you've had before, like your modem when you get it from Comcast or AT&T. At the bottom of it, it's got like some unique password. Yeah, and it looks like the password is good. You're like, oh, that's a good password. But the thing is, if you put that serial number or whatever in into like a search database, you can get that password out. So people don't change that password. And then once somebody finds out exactly what kind of camera you're using, which they can look at your door and see the camera up there and find out which kind of camera you're using, then they can go put that in and get like the stock password out. And there's people whose cameras are all over the internet. I was like, unbelievable. And it's like, well, this is what you get when, and then things are being sent back to China. One guy sat out in front of somebody's house doing it all, this guy running all the software on this camera, and basically found out where all this information's going, that it's being sent to, and he pulled the guy's network password right off. It's being sent, you know, these cameras have to know your password for your home network, and it's being sent in an SHA hash, like it's not supposed to be able to be seen, but you can find out what method it's using, and then you can pull people's password off. This guy did it. I saw him do it. I was like, holy smokes, that's scary. So needless to say, don't buy cheap batteries and charge them when you're not paying attention, and don't buy cheap security cameras, or you never know who's watching you. Crazy stuff.
What's up, sir? Hey, man. How's it going?
So talking to Jaron?
You're the Uber guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy, he's an Uber driver, and he, you videotaped, I guess, yourself having.
Yeah, I've seen him before. Yeah, that's great.
The Flat Earth Uber guy.
I talked to Jaron last time he was here in Palmdale, actually, a couple weeks ago.
Oh, that's cool.
Bummed you couldn't make it, bro.
Yeah, sorry about that. I wanted to. That was the plan.
You know what? You're not missing much except for just being around the people.
They're trying it again. They got
the boat's going back out.
That's about how far they got last time when they turned around after.
What did they do differently this time? Put a motor on it?
I think there's, yeah. Well, the motor's been on it.
The motor's been on it. This time, somebody went to a car and grabbed a rope and then went back to the boat. I don't get what the rope's for.
Wait, that's being motor. That's the motor's pushing it that fast?
Yeah, there's a little motor. If you can see the guy in the back, he's kind of holding. Well, now it's working. It wasn't working before.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that motor's not moving. There it goes. Oh no, maybe not.
They may have started. I think the problem was wherever they were trying to launch from before, it was too shallow, and they couldn't put the motor down. I think that was what was going on.
So it's easy to see now when you're looking at those mountains how obscured that horizon line is.
Oh yeah, way out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, according to them right now, we're looking at a 40-foot wall of water.
Yeah, I know.
That's just laughable.
Oh, I thought that drone was going in the water.
It's so funny. Earlier that was behind you too, and I thought it was a bird, and I was watching like that bird's fake. I was like, oh, it's a drone.
Yeah, it is.
CGI bird.
That's really low, isn't it? Sitting next to the water, really low.
Yeah, it's like 3 feet off the water.
You ever tried to drive one of those? Fly one of those? I mean.
I actually just bought one, like literally right before I came here. The
Mavic. That's kind of different. Those ones don't count. That's a cheater method like David Weiss uses.
Yeah, David Weiss. This one, it was some kind of pro bundle deal that they had at Costco that has a virtual reality headset, and you can fly it with your head.
Oh wow!
So like your head tells it where if you want it to go right, you turn right or whatever. I haven't tried it yet.
That would suck if someone tries to get a hold of you or something. They're like, "Hey, Rob!"
So you start shaking your head. The drone's going crazy.
Oh, I have to admit, I tried to fly. Some company contacted me and said, "Hey, we'll send you a drone if you show it on your channel." So I'm like, "All right, I'll do that. I'll show. I want to see a drone anyway." So they sent me this drone, and the very first time I flew it, and it was terrible because it was in front of neighbors. Neighbors were out in front of their house, and I went out in front of my front yard and just said, I'm just going to fly this thing just a little, learn how to do it. So I took off, and it started going up, and you start getting nervous, like, oh, shit, I don't know these buttons. And before you know it, it's just flying away from me into this field that was next to my house. And I was pressing all the buttons, like mashing the button, and it wasn't coming back. And it just kept going, and I realized, that thing's gone. And it just flew forever. It was way out in the field. I could never go get it, and it just crashed, and then these neighbors were like, I had to turn around and kind of pretended like I meant to do that. Like, I just wanted to throw that thing away. And then I tried I bought one for like $100. Maybe this is like 2 Thanksgivings ago or 3 Thanksgivings ago. Like flew it into the neighbor's house when I tried and onto somebody's roof. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not good at these. But then I saw David's. I'm like, you know how to fly that? And you like press a button, like,
yeah,
go.
It
flies itself.
Pretty much.
That's why you don't buy $100 drones.
But you got to get FAA registered, so I haven't done that yet. Yeah, you got to get certified by the.
Oh, because if it crashes, you'll get busted.
Well, because I think it can fly pretty high and pretty far. That it's considered an aircraft, basically.
Yeah, I don't know how high that thing flies, like 300 meters or something?
Yeah, I forgot what the specs were on it, but it's impressive what that thing can do. And it's small, man. It packs up real nice into a little.
Yeah, David, I don't know where you were, but David flew it when we were at North Carolina.
Yeah.
We were on the side of the hotel there.
Oh, they're getting out there.
Yeah, they're getting out there a little bit now.
But that's not. They're going
Not
3
even
miles. It's going to take a while.
Yeah, that's like, what, 100 yards?
Miles an hour.
Yeah.
They should be out there in about an hour, right?
3 miles an hour.
Be lucky they're moving that fast.
How fast do you think that boat's going right now? Like, not even 10 miles an hour, right?
No,
Speed.
not even.
It's going pretty slow. That girl she's surrounded by media down there. I don't know if you can see her.
She's funny. She's a new flat earther, she said?
Yeah, she's a newbie. But that was so funny, man. The confidence of a flat earther, right? Flat earther, she has her camera like a foot off the water, maybe. And the other
I
guy's
saw
like
that.
4 feet. She's all laying down in the dirt. Like,
Is that whose camera is that? Right?
that's
right-
hers.
is that
That's
hers?
hers on the water.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they said there was no tides at this sea. Is that true?
I didn't hear that. I mean,
I kind of heard that, but I didn't know if that's true.
it's.
I don't know about that because it looks like.
I mean,
right
there
here
are
at this-
waves, but I don't know if
at
there's
these
the.
rocks. It looks like the water might get up to here sometimes. Right?
Well, that could be with.
No, that it's gone down significantly over the last. I know,
Several years.
yeah, 20 years at least. I don't know how far
This
before
whole
that.
world is nothing but a big puddle drying up after the flood.
Yeah, pretty
That's
much.
all like when you look at a topographical map, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah, it's actually kind of, you can just see it right there, huh?
Valley, the whole length of it.
Yeah.
And all the green is inside the valley, and everything else around it is a desert.
Yeah, they actually tried to bring some water from the Colorado River there, and basically then the river overflowed and just destroyed everything they had built.
Oh wow. I guess at one time this was the place to be.
Yeah, it has like hotels and people at the beach, and
I could see this at one time being a real hot spot. Oh,
but now nobody swims in that, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think it's somewhere around there. There's
Polluted?
supposedly mud bubbles.
Somebody said it's toxic.
Yeah, it's like volcanic.
Oh, really?
Volcanic gas or something is coming out of the ground there.
Oh, those birds flying around look pretty healthy.
Yeah. Well, there's a dude over there fishing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, right there.
I wonder why they say it's toxic. I thought it was just had something to do with the amount of salt that is left in it or something.
I think it has to do with the fact that over there is Slab City, and Slab City is an old military thing.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I think they used to do nuclear test out there actually.
Oh yeah. I liked Mark Sargent's last clue that he put out.
Yeah.
The challenge of the vacuum chamber. You seen that?
Yep.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to see.
Yeah, because he told me about it, and like I said, I was watching Avengers last weekend the night before my house caught on fire, and in the first Avengers movie, the beginning of it is in that chamber. It's NASA's vacuum chamber.
Mm-hmm.
That was where they were doing experiments on the Tesseract, and Loki shows up. I don't know if you remember the movie, but that was actually, it's like I had just talked to Mark Sargent about his plan, and then I watched an Avenger. I'm like, hey, that's the vacuum chamber. And then I think it was Iron Man 2, where Elon Musk is in it.
Yeah.
Can't stand that guy.
Hey, Jaron, you've dealt a lot with the Curiosity rover and stuff like that with all their crap with Mars and stuff, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
What have people said about that parachute that supposedly stopped the rover from planting itself on Mars in their mind?
Man, I just showed David and Curious Jay that video the other day. The way they describe it, the fact that anybody could believe that is, we have a hard time believing that, Elon Musk is landing rockets backwards on Earth. Well, this thing was like, it had to lower itself, and then from it dropped ropes with this, I forgot what the weight of that rover is, but dropped ropes with it onto the Mars surface, and then it like flew off from there. But yeah, the whole idea of the parachute supposedly slowing it down from like 1,000 meters per second to like 10 meters per second in like a mile, and there's no atmosphere. I mean,
Yeah.
How would it slow down?
Not only that, but as soon as right before it hits the ground, it puffs up in that weird balloon shape, and then just tumbles.
Yeah, it's got like airbags.
Yeah, and then it tumbles, and then the airbags pop open, and ta-da! There's this rover.
I met a guy yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday at lunch, and he had seen some of my stuff, and he says, "Hey man, I got to tell you something." And I forgot what he did. He was a contractor. I forgot what he did though, but he was a contractor for JPL and Lockheed. And he said, "Dude, I can tell you for a fact that they are lying about a crazy amount of things. It's all a facade." He says, you can go to JPL and go on the tour, and you see people supposedly working. He says they're like actors. I'm there. Like,
I think I talked to the guy. The guy who he actually talked to a couple guys.
Not doing anything, and then all of a sudden, tourists. Okay, I'm a lab guy or whatever. And he said, "I've seen the various prototypes of rovers and things. Like, it's all a scam, dude."
So the Mars Curiosity rover, 8,500 pounds.
Wow. Yeah. That's like a Hummer, isn't it? Like
yeah. I mean, a Honda Civic is like 3,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Wow. And I mean, to think that this thing just got there and is lowered on ropes from a hovering craft. I mean, it's just the way they describe it is so horseshit. And of course, there's no proof of it at all. And then the story of that guy who found the in one of the pictures, he was going through each picture, and one of them there's a mushroom growing on a rock. Yeah.
Yeah. There was like there was
one where it was like a gerbil or a rat or something.
Yeah, it was some kind of rodent.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the guy who lived, I know where he lived because I used to go to school there. That's where I went to high school. But he lives like near Bellarmine in San Jose, which is near NASA's office there. And when he brought it up to NASA, he said 2 guys showed up at his door and told him to stop the lawsuit, because basically he had filed this lawsuit saying that NASA had lied to the world because there's this mushroom growing on Mars, which this guy believes in Mars. So he obviously said there's a mushroom growing there, which means there's life there, and they totally ignored it because he pointed it out and said this is a mushroom. It wasn't here 10 days ago, and here it is 10 days later. It's growing on this rock, which of course is true because it's on Earth. And he pointed that out, and NASA just shooed him, said, forget about it. And he said, he took him to court. Well, the judge dismissed the case because the judge said, you don't have any losses. You have to have losses to sue somebody here. You can't just sue on behalf of no reason. So,
what about the taxes? Yeah, taxpayers. That would, we lost money on a fraud.
Right. So I guess more, people would have to do some sort of class action or something. But this guy by himself, I guess he couldn't or whatever. But then he said at his house, when a couple days later, somebody had taken like tons of mushrooms and thrown them over his back fence. Like, it's just crazy. It's like they'll do anything to basically just shut you up, I guess. I don't know. But I got to check into what he's done lately. I tried writing him an email saying basically, hey, you want to know why you saw that mushroom on the rock? Because it was on Earth.
Yeah. It was shot in Scotland.
Yeah, I've tried emailing a few people. Yeah, I've tried emailing a few people that, what's his name? Alan Grayson, you know him? He's the one who, you may have seen him in one of my videos where he's talking to Charles Bolden, and they're having an argument about what next means. Like, he's like, where are we going next? And he says, well, next is, I'm not really sure. So that congressman, I emailed him and told him, like, dude, you keep going after NASA. You do realize they're completely fake, right? Well, of course, he never got back to me. So the other guy I realized is fake. You know who that? The guy Nelson? Is it Nelson? The guy from Florida? Can't remember his name. One of I think he's the congressman from. But for the while I was like watching him, and whenever they have these space hearings, he's always there, like totally on the side of NASA, totally on the side of space research. And I've just always kind of had a problem with him. Like, man, this guy seems like he's a shill or something. He's just always on their side. And then I did some research on him, and the guy flew on a space shuttle. He went to space. Like, how is that the head of the committee that decides whether or not NASA gets money? I mean, it's like so obvious. Everything you look at, you're like, come on, give me a break.
Yeah, who's that? What's that guy? I think he's from Canada. He's got a mustache. He was supposedly on the ISS with the guitar.
Yeah, Chris Hatfield.
Chris Hatfield. He was. I subscribe to this online. It's called Masterclass. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it's actually a real. If you're a creative type, it's a great service.
Mhm.
So I have, like, you know, professionals in whatever area of your interest is that will do these classes, and you can do like $100 a class, or I just bought the whole package where you get all of them. Like if you want to compose music, they have Hans Zimmerman on there teaching how to score a movie, you know, that kind of stuff. Well, anyway, Hatfield, I just saw an ad that he's doing a master class. I don't know what the class is on, because, you know, how do you take a master class and become an astronaut? You know. But anyway, in the preview, he was talking about the G-forces that you experience at launch,
Right.
and how you can't do anything, and yet we have footage of, like, I think it was Atlantis. We're at Atlantis, and the guy's like, you know, just you know, he's like doing selfies. He's like waving at the camera, or whatever. I think it was the last launch of Space Shuttle Atlantis, but there was no indication that that dude was going under any kind of G-forces, you know. And you got Hatfield singing along. I'm gonna walk down there and see what's going on. You got Hatfield singing along with people on Earth without the time delay. Remember that? They're doing like a chorus or something.
Right.
Like, there's so many things that he said that even his own actions contradicted that we have on video. I'm walking back to see what's going on over here.
So, you know how everyone always talks about the Bumgarner jump?
Yeah. Sorry.
The fish eye?
Yeah, fish eye lens.
What if I told you his whole jump was fake?
I don't know if I believe that. Why would you say that?
Because if you look at the weather balloon that they say they used, they're saying they used a 40 square acre weather balloon.
Yeah, it was pretty huge.
Yeah, but watch that video of it going up.
Still there? I lost you.
A 40 acre balloon.
I mean,
What's acres to 40 acres to square miles? I lost you.
You had a question or something?
Oh yeah. We've been rubbing shoulders, but I was hoping maybe I can just get like a signature, an autograph.
Okay.
This is for personal memories, I think. You know what I mean?
Not that it'd be worth anything.
Well, doesn't matter. This is totally personal for me.
Signature of a lunatic. How much is that worth, right?
Yeah, it's autograph, signature. You want to say something? Whatever you want to put there is fine by me.
Wait. So,
This is a scam for sure, dude. My name is JDM Jim officially. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I'm the super overly aggressive guy online. I mean it.
did he say that the balloon was 40 acres?
I think that's what the other guy said. Yeah, there was the Uber guy. Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. I think he said it was 40 acres.
A football field is like is a little over 1 acre.
Yeah, that couldn't be.
No, they didn't have a 40-acre balloon. I gotta check.
I don't even think the ones that they're launching in Antarctica are that big.
No, that's ridiculous.
I think he must have heard wrong.
Yeah, I'll look into that. That's an interesting one. I have that written down here. But yeah, that senator.
Well, I think the jump was real. I don't think it. There are enough people that the actual jump.
I have questions about the during that free fall where they show them like doing flips in the air. Like that didn't look real to me. But I mean, they're from the ground and they're seeing a person fall out of the air from 100 and however many feet he was up, 120,000 feet.
Well, he had like multiple cameras, and because I've used the footage to show, just like you did in that video with the magic squares.
Right.
Oh, it's concave. Oh, look, it's flat. Oh, no, it's, convex. Where the Earth was morphing. And, when he was falling in the multiple camera angles, I mean.
That's true. They did have
Earth
more
was doing
than
crazy
one
stuff.
camera angle. I wonder what side. Yeah, I don't know where he got that information from. I'll have to look into that. But something interesting. Have you ever heard of the secret society called the Snake and the Book and the Snake?
Book of the Snake.
Book and the Snake.
Oh, Book and the Snake. No.
Yeah. So this guy Bill Nelson is a part of this Yale fraternity, and he's the current current congressman from Florida. He's the head of like the Space Appropriations Committee, who decides whether or not they get money, and he got to fly on the shuttle to space, in like the one right before Challenger. It's like
really
just ridiculous when you start looking. I mean, it's like how is that not a conflict of interest for him to be in charge of the space committee?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
That's pretty crazy. Well, I don't know if there's much of anything else going on here.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you talking with us for so long. That was fun.
Yeah, I probably should get off and see what's going on with my phone here.
Yeah, no problem. I'm good too. I felt bad that we weren't there, and Mrs. still in bed, so see how she's feeling. And but sorry we missed you. We'll see you soon. I know we'll see you. Are you going to Canada?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll see you there. I just got my room for that, so that should be fun. Edmonton.
Yeah. Sure.
What's the date of that? August 8th? No.
Better.
Forgot the date of that. August. I don't remember. Do you remember the date offhand?
No. I got.
August. It's August 9th and 10th.
This is me.
So just telling everybody. So thanks, Rob. We appreciate it a ton. And we'll just remember this day is the day Rob predicted it. You said it. You knew exactly what they would see.
Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. See ya.
Take it easy.
Bye.
All right, so that was Rob Skiba. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to cover. Obviously you heard the whole thing. It seems that they, of course, according to them, have proved the globe, and they'll just end it at that. But as Rob predicted, as we said, I wanted to be there, but I'm kind of glad at this point that I wasn't, because I just would have argued with people that don't want to see the world the way it is, and just believe that when things work out exactly as science tells you, that always means that it must be the truth, and not that things can be seen in different ways, or that there's a possibility that what you're seeing is caused by the atmosphere that sits right above water, and that causes buildings to be covered by water. And we just need to, I don't know, to me, point out, you're not looking at what I'm looking at, but point out that what we're seeing can be caused by something else. And, I feel like they do too much of saying, well, we should see the other side. I keep hearing this one, that if the earth was flat, we'd be able to see a person standing at the shore across the water. And it's just not true. It's just impossible to be true. Once you've been to the beach, once you've been to any lake and looked across, you see that the atmosphere above the water causes distortion, causes lensing. And so it would be impossible to see anything across the water unless you're talking about a very short distance. I know looking at the ocean across 4 miles, I couldn't see across 4 miles. And when you tried to look through a camera lens, or if you have a telescope, you see that you're looking through distortion. And so that's not a good test to do when you see exactly what that video showed. And I'll just show it one more time for anybody who's just joining. Where is that video? Let's bring it up here. And that was Phuket Word. And I'll show you exactly what I mean. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We appreciate that, by the way. Tune in next Sunday if you are around for Globebusters. We'll be back after about a month break for a new season. So check that out. And if you could, please go over and subscribe to Globebusters 2. We were given a community guideline strike, and so we cannot do live shows, or you can catch it here. We're going to do a simulcast on the new channel, Globebusters 2, and on my channel next week, Sunday at noon Pacific. So join us for a new season. Should be fun. And I'm going to go to this video 1 second here. I know you're just staring at Rob's face. And thank Rob for giving us a sight of what was going down there. Let's get over here. All right. And so again, I'm going to see if Phuket Word will let me mirror this video or put it on my channel, because it only has 7,000 views, and I think it's one of the best videos that there is, showing exactly what's going on and what we saw today. Which, when you put yourself up here and you're looking across, pretend this road is water, that when you start to drop down to where you would be in equivalence to this road, if you're looking across water, and we're talking about a smaller distance here, as you go down, you'll see right there that the road gets eaten up completely by the reflection, by the mirage layer, and this is a band of convergence here. So we now know, looking at this, that the road is way over here. The road is right here where my mouse is, but it's gone. Again, we'll just rewind a little bit, and you can see that this road is just gone. And so that's what you get at the water level, and what you have is what he calls here, it's just this band of convergence, I guess. I don't know what else you'd call it. And that's what they were doing today, is they were looking across the water, and they waited until the balloon got above that line and said that means that the Earth is curved, because we didn't see the balloon until it was a certain height. But you wouldn't see a balloon here either as it rose up until it got above this line, which is really where the end of the road is. Let's go back a little bit here. Maybe about there. Where is this? Here. So just to show you this band here, that's not the road, see? And so that's what basically we saw today. And we should have expected it. And then you can look at the lines here. Let's just take a look at this. So see these lines coming here. This is called curvature in some people's world, when clearly we know that these are just straight down, and it's because the light's being bent away. So let's go to like a Soundly video here. Pontar train. Oops. And then I'm going to check Telegram, see if anybody's been wanting to talk to me. I have not been able to look. So here we go. That's a good spot right there. Okay, so what you're seeing here is the same as, I should have had another, let's open up another window here. Duplicate and go back. I said go back. There we go. All right. So now we'll play this one and go back. Go back. All right, we'll pull this up just so we can kind of go back and forth, and we'll see that these two things are the same thing, same happenings. And so, you got some people that will just take something and call it curvature, that these electrical poles or whatever are curving over this edge of the water, and yet we see, here that this isn't curving over anything. It's just the same phenomenon, which means, we realize here that this is all mirage reflection. Basically, these poles reflected from here. You can see this bush reflected from here. And if we go over to here, you're seeing the same thing. Let's see here if we got any other views of Punter Train. Not Kozlowski, that's not the one I wanted. Alrighty, let's do it again. Soundly. So again, I mean, it's sad when it comes down to, if some people are going to explain it one way, some people are going to explain it the other. So we're looking for that that experiment that can't be really seen in two different mindsets. But that's basically what we're getting a lot of. Is it just depends on whether you're stuck in the belief of the globe, in which case you're going to see every experiment and every result as as a result of that. And if you are a flat earther, if you've come to realize the deception or that we have, then you see that every experiment is being pushed in that direction, and that's why you become a flat earther, because you're trying to show people what's going on. And of course, this New Orleans elevator, I've shown this, that you have to believe that this is a wall of water that is getting higher and not covering these buildings, but you can watch these buildings blink out. You can watch that it's just an atmospheric distortion. Watch this building right about here, and you'll see that they just disappear. See, there's no water covering this building. It's just you're getting above or below that atmospheric layer. So this is what they saw today. Again, you could raise up balloons and say, oh, we see him now, and then call that curvature. But this clearly, can you imagine? What if this was true? The water would be pouring on buildings. What if this was true? You believe that these buildings are sitting behind this wall of water? That high? That's the world you think you live in? It's crazy to me that people can't consider the alternative. It's not like I'm saying there's no other. It's just ridiculous that these things can be just, well, they told me it's a globe, so it must be a globe. That's what teachers tell me. That's what science tells me. This has got to be a globe. That's the reason that this happens. When really it's just the drone that he's using is going down towards the water here, and then it goes up above it. And when you get above that distortion, it reveals what's there. When you're down low like this, you're actually seeing, let's see if I can pause this. You're actually looking through the distortion, which is raising this water line up. And I think I've drawn pictures before. I'm sure you've seen me. Or if you draw the left to right kind of picture, well, I guess I can draw real quick. Oh, no, I don't have my thing on. I can't show you. But if you draw, oh, actually, can I draw with this thing? Don't know if this will work. Nope, didn't work. But go back. Okay, so I'll kind of draw it this way. I'll show you. Let's pretend this land isn't here, and let's say that you're standing over here, and you're looking across at some buildings over here. So rather than looking at this direction, we're pretending like we're looking at it crosswise. And when you're looking through the layer of distortion that would be right here above the water, as you're looking through that, it acts as a lens, and what's it going to magnify? It magnifies what's right behind it, which is more water. So that water lifts up to this person's eye line. And that's what we're seeing here, is that water is being lifted up into that layer, which you're seeing the water. Now you're down low. Now as you get up above it, now you're getting over it. Okay, now I'm looking over that distortion, and it reveals the city. Now again, are you going to see the shore? No, you're not going to see the shore. But again, there's different ways of looking at it, and you just have to put it all together for yourself and decide where it is that you think that you live. And they've just got so many excuses that they believe that the beach in Australia is level with the beach in San Francisco. And even though they're on opposite ends of a ball, they think that they're level. Well, they're level because the Earth is flat. And if you're just going to describe everything that we observe as flat, and then you're just going to say, well, no, it's because we're on a ball and everything's pulled to the center, well, it's hard to argue with that person, because what are you going to say? You would think that if we got a bunch of levels and put them next to each other, let's say 1 foot levels, we'd be able to put these 1 foot levels all right next to each other, all leveled perfectly. And if you believe in the globe, that will wrap back around and end up at the North Pole again after going all the way around the Earth, even though all the levels measured level. A lot of people say, well, there's no bend in water, and their answer would be, well, of course there's no bend in water. All water is level. So again, they think that all the water is level, but it wraps around a ball and comes back again. So in that case, you've got upside down cruise ships. You've got all kinds of craziness going on that I don't think is true. So it's up to each person. You can decide what you want to believe in. I have no problem if you want to believe in the globe. All I ask is that people look into it, and that's why I do what I can to get people to just take a look for yourself. Because if you truthfully are looking for the truth, then you'll reach it. And if you are truthfully looking to confirm your preconceived bias, then guess what? You'll reach it. That's the way things are. And again, a lot of people can just look at me and say, well, you're doing the same thing. You have a preconceived notion that the Earth is flat, and you're looking for evidence of it. And that is, in my opinion, quite a bit different than going with the status quo that you were taught in school and said, okay, this is exactly what I was given. It must be true. And so I'm going to go out every day and prove it. When that's the easiest job in the world. They've given you all the answers for the Earth to be a globe. They've given you all the evidence. They've given you all the various proofs. And of course, they have to be used in certain situations. You can use, relativity in this case, but not in this case. And you can use special relativity here, but don't use it here. And gravity, you can use Newtonian gravity, but don't use Einsteinian. But use Einsteinian here because Newtonian doesn't work. If that's what you're going to allow, then you're right. The Earth's a globe. Just allow somebody to explain it however they want. Take shortcuts when needed. Explain things that are clearly not true as true, like things lifting up over the horizon and showing you. The other day I found this group. I don't know where I have it. It's a Flickr Canigao group. But they had like 900 pictures of the mountain in Canigao, where that's 175 miles, where people are seeing pictures like this. This distance is huge, and we're seeing this Canigao mountain. And again, it shouldn't be seen at all. Here it is again. This shouldn't be seen at all. And this person here is only 1,000 feet or so. That's usually where the observation level is. And this mountain, it in and of itself proves flat Earth. Unless you believe, what is this? Never seen that. Oh, you probably can't see what I'm doing because I have it on too small of a screen. Sorry. Let me get it a little better for you. And try that. That's better. So, I mean, if you're, it just comes down to what you believe. If you believe that the sun lifts mountains like this, is the sun has lifted this mountain here? And, it's crazy. And then if you say, the globe believer will tell you, well, if you stood on this shore, you wouldn't see the shore of this mountain. Yeah, but you're missing the point. The point is that this mountain should be behind the curve. I'm not sure where this picture is taken from. Does he say? I can't read this language, but it looks like 26, 80, 78 meters. That's the size of Canigao. Oh, 27, 84. Can't see. Oh, so I don't know if that's what he's saying, but if he's saying he took it from here, 946 meters, it's about, 3,000 feet? I'm not sure how much of that you should be able to see. Let's go to the curve calculator. 3,000 feet. I want that open. Here we go. Let's go to the curve calculator and check that one out. Now, I know I just saw this picture. I have no idea if this is going to show what. Let's see. So, because he's high. He's at 3,000 feet. And we're seeing, what was the total of that one? 30. Oops. What did he say? I should remember this. Where are we at? 30. Oh, no. 2670. Oh, no. 2784. I guess I should get exact on. Let's go 2784 kilometers. Not kilometers, sorry. Meters to feet. 2784 meters to feet. Thank you. See what this is. So that's 9,133. And then that other height was 946. Meters to feet is 3103. So we'll go back to the curve calculator, 3103 and 9133. Oops, sorry. This is miles. That is, did he say how far away he was? He is, it doesn't tell you the distance. Oh, 299 kilometers. That should be about 175 miles, if I'm not mistaken. 299 kilometers. 2 miles. Can you people over there start doing the imperial method, please? 185. Let's go here. 185 miles. And eye height was 3103. Yes. Okay, so the target hidden height is 9093. Okay, that mountain is 9133. So that means that we should be able to see 47 feet of that mountain. So let's go back and look. Is that 47 feet? You tell me, because this looks like about 9,000 feet to me. So this is the kind of thing that is proof. It's proof. It's all you should need to know. And you can see it's not like there's an edge. You can see behind it. There's more stuff behind it. It's just as far as your eye can see. You can't see further. And you'll never will be able to because you're looking through atmosphere. It doesn't matter if you have a telescope. Doesn't matter if you have the best binoculars, P900. The farthest that our eye can see is probably 200 miles at the most. I can't picture seeing much further, maybe 250. And you have to have a perfectly clear day. You have to have the sun setting behind it because then you're not seeing the mountain. You're actually seeing a silhouette. But this is not being lifted up. Okay, this mountain hasn't been lifted. You know, let's say we see, I don't know, what do we see here? Say 7,000 feet. The sun is not lifting mountains 7,000 feet and displaying them perfectly for you at the horizon. This is not a mirage. We know what mirages look like. This is not a mirage. And so these are the kind of things that are proof. And you can believe all the excuses that people give all you want. I mean, you can believe those, and that's your prerogative. But I think that you should look into it because if you believe that governments would lie and that science has a agenda or that they would lie to protect their jobs, and anybody would. I mean, put yourself in that predicament. You've gone through school, you've done years of astrophysics studies, and you've done, you know, all these, you went around touring and giving speeches at auditoriums, and you've told all your friends how smart you are, and your family thinks you're smart, and then something comes along that would completely destroy your entire world, that would wreck the paradigm that you've built up, that would tell you that you've been lied to your entire life and that everything that you read in the astrophysics book was meant to create a shill out of you, was basically meant to create a believer out of you, and that it wasn't true. And again, I mean, space, nobody's going to space and measuring it. Nobody's going there and testing it. These are things that were taught out of books. Neil deGrasse Tyson has a PhD because he read a book. Okay, doesn't mean that, is he smart in the lie? Absolutely, great, fantastic. He read the book well, he answered the tests well. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean that what you learned in a book is true. I mean, there's books about anything. You know, are books always true? You know, no. Sometimes they're nonfiction, sometimes they're fiction. And just because a school gives you a degree, which you know, you get your degree, just like you're a 33rd degree Mason. It's all Masonic. Look into who exactly started the school system in the United States. And you'll see that there is you know, here's another one. That I believe this place that they're at here is only 1,000 feet. Let me see if he says. Yeah, see, 384 meters. So from 384 meters, and he says it's 265 kilometers. Let's go 265. 260, come on. 265 kilometers, 164 miles. If my pen would work, 164 miles. And then we've got 2784. That's Kanagawa, which we know is 9133. And 265. And then we've got 384 meters, 384 to see the height. Nope, feet. All right, so we've got an observation point of 1259, and there's clowns out there who say that I'm showing fake pictures of Kanagawa. Absolute total clowns who buy views and look foolish for admitting so. Thank you, Nathan Oakley, for a great time exposing that one. And let's see here. So Earth curve calculator, we've got an eye height of 1259. We've got a target distance of 160. I wrote it down here somewhere. 164. No. So 9688 is the amount that's supposed to be hidden. So again, the mountain is 9133. So the mountain of Kanagawa should be 500 feet below the horizon line. But you know, look into Kanagawa, see where this little break almost hits down here. You can figure out how far this is. This whole mountain is 9,133. So the horizon line should be here if we live on a globe, 500 feet above. But it's not. It's down here. And so you have to believe in magical levitating mountains, and not just like a magic levitating boat like it's a Fata Morgana. This mountain is complete. It's a mountain range. It's not floating magically. It's not a Fata Morgana. Do we see an upside down, distorted mirage view? Or do we see a silhouette of the mountain of Canigao? So if you can look at this and just believe in the scientific explanation for it, then congratulations, because I can't. You know, it makes more sense to me that we run out of sight. We can't see. It takes an extreme moment for us to be able to see. And this mountain has been reduced in size a ton because of how far away it is. We know that things get smaller with distance. And there's going to be some more videos coming out about that because that's very interesting. The curvature calculators do not take into account at all the idea of things reducing in size over distance. You know, if you look at this picture here, let's say, so we're looking over this supposed hump. This is our viewpoint. And if you're looking at this, so let's say this is the Canigao Mountain, this red thing here. And if this is Canigao Mountain, and we're looking to see if we can see it, well, we have to remember that this thing has shrunk in size due to perspective. The mountain is much, much smaller due to this person's perspective. And one way you can prove that to yourself that it would matter is, let's say this H1 line here, let's say it's only as tall as this arrow is. Okay, so it's right there. That's as tall as this mountain is, or building, whatever you want to call it. So this person is looking across, and if I said to them, well, here's the mathematics behind it, can you see this red building? Well, someone would look at it and say, well, no, actually, it's right about even with where it would be blocked by this curvature. Okay, now let's pretend that we live in a world where things get larger with distance. So with distance, things appear to be larger. Well, now if I asked you, would you be able to see this red arrow here? Your answer to me would be, well, how much larger does it appear? Because what if this red arrow appears twice as big? If it appeared twice as big, you'd easily be able to see it. So it would matter that things get bigger with distance. But we don't live in that world. We live in the world where things get smaller with distance. So you can't just say it doesn't matter. You can't say, well, yeah, things get smaller with distance, but that doesn't matter whether or not we can see it. To hell, it doesn't. How does it not matter? This is an orthographic view of this curvature calculator. We're looking straight on with this ball, in which case, no. There is no perception here. There is no perspective. There is no. But if you take the view of the person at the blue and you get behind them and you're looking off in the distance at something that's clearly getting smaller with distance, it absolutely matters. It absolutely matters how big or small something is in relation to your view of it. And people might say, oh, well, this horizon also shrinks inside. Well, the difference is the horizon is only a certain distance away from you. It's only 43 miles away, not 164. So this is not obviously drawn to scale. The horizon should be like here. Basically, you're looking at the horizon. You hit the edge of the horizon. So if that's shrunk or is shrunk in size, okay, maybe it's shrunk down to here. It's going to make a big difference. The item that's still 120 miles past that is much, much smaller because things get smaller with distance. So when you see pictures of things that are clearly smaller with distance, like this for all you know is the entire mountains of Canigao, meaning that there's 9,000 feet of missing curvature, meaning simply you don't live on a ball. To think that things go off in this distance and start folding that way, they go over this hump and they are folding, there's people living perpendicular to this on the other side of the globe and then underneath you living down. It's a crazy belief to me. I want to see evidence. I don't want to just be told that. I don't want to be told that there's a ball Earth that's floating in space. It's like the big, heavy ball Earth is just sitting in space? Sitting there? How? So just show me evidence. We've got spacefaring agencies that are up there. So show me some video. Oh, we don't really have any video. Okay, well, we have one picture. We've got the Himawari satellite. Oh, we have Himawari. That's the answer, huh? That's a photograph from 20,000 miles away, so they say. And you can go there and see that it's a complete and total hack job of a composite image every time. And so people will swear that this is a proof of the Earth because this is a picture. Turn that off. We'll try and at least make it look somewhat real. Turn that off. All right. So if you think this is a picture, I mean, I don't know how. I don't know how you can feel like this is really a camera in space. Come on, give me the damn thing without shadow. What's going on? Isn't this supposed to be a whole day? Go back. Let me go to the previous day. This thing's not working. 6:10. Let's go to 6:9. All right, now we can go over here and get a fuller view. Okay, so if you think this is in space, let me go a little more this way. Okay, I don't know why this way? Can't even get a whole picture. But you can get in here and you can think, I mean, this is where you think you live. You think this is floating in space. The big ball of water with upside down water and sideways cruise ships and upside down cruise ships and upside down planes. And I guess if you want to believe that, but to me, I need more proof than just, oh, here it is. It's like, it doesn't even look like a sphere. It looks like it's shaded with a paint shop tool. Doesn't look like a photograph. Now, when you get down here and somebody says, well, what do you think now? Is that a photograph? Well, I don't doubt that it's a high altitude plane taking photographs and then wrapped on a ball. It's not even a difficult thing for them to do, in my opinion. But it would take a few minutes, and that's why this, we don't get anything till about 8 minutes after, or 10 minutes after. My thing is stuck here. Can I have this? There we go. So if you get all the way in here, and again, you have to do this for yourself, go to himawari8.nict.go.jp and bring in your camera as far as you can go. And I don't really doubt that this would be a real image at this height. It could be the clouds. I don't know. I'm not the one out there telling people it's real. Now, if you look, you won't be able to see it. I promise you, I'm guessing you won't be able to see it. But right at the top of my arrow, okay, so this little cross arrows I have here, right at the very tip of the top is a purple stitch line. You can see it all the way across here. Go a little bit lower, right here, purple stitch line. So you got one here, right here. So this one right here, purple stitch, all the way across. So these are not photographs. If they are, they're small sections of photograph pieced together, and then all you need to do is transpose them onto a ball, and you got the whole world believing you live there. That's as hard as it would be, and these are everywhere. I mean, it's a set amount of space between each stitch line. So for people to say this is a photo, we have a photo of Earth. No, even if you believe in the moon landings, the last time a human being took a camera and took a picture of the Earth would have been 1972. And I certainly don't believe in the moon landings. So if I don't believe in the moon landings, then there's never been a person in the history of the world to take a picture of the Earth. Why would that be? Well, it's probably because we can't go to space. It's just a method of deduction. Not really anything else you can say about it. It's simple. And I don't know about you, but I don't think Australia is this red. But hey, what do I know? I haven't been up in space. And, I think I've shown it on a video before. You can do it yourself, but take Google Earth and compare sections of this land with Google Earth. You'll see it's way off. And you can keep going back and forth and try and get it sized perfectly. Use these 3 islands as an example. And you'll see that it's way off. So what's way off? I mean, is Google Earth off, or is the Himawari off? Which one is not real? Which one? And granted, people will say, oh, well, Google Earth isn't real. Well, could it be because Google Earth needs to be wrapped on a ball, and this particular picture does not? I mean, once you get into this size, get into right here, possibly this is a photograph of a high altitude plane. I don't know how high it would have to be. Guess we could figure that out. Maybe we can do that real quick. I don't know. Oh, no, because I can't switch back and forth between Google Earth. You won't be able to see it. But if we do it yourself, put these 3 islands, go right over it, go back and forth till those islands match, and then look at your shoreline here, and it will be way off. Well, could it be because this picture here is the actual picture, or Google Earth is taking data and then has to wrap it on a ball? So it makes, now as you zoom out, you'll see things change because now it's got to be wrapped on a ball. So, anyway, I just don't think these things are proof of anything. This is not a photograph. This is not a photograph of the Earth. That's all I'm going to say. If you want to believe it, you can believe it all you want. Let's see here. Where were we at before this? Oh, so Kanagawa Just go back there real quick. That's proof. All you need right there. I don't know what that picture is. These are just, there's a ton of pictures on here. You have to kind of go through them and see different times of day, different views from where. And again, it should be enough for you to realize that something's wrong, something's up. Oh, that's crazy. What is that? Some sort of time lapse or something. But again, you can see it here. And there's your proof that this has been reduced in size. Extremely. But that is Canigale. And so, you know, granted the other things were telephoto lenses, but this is what you're seeing where this mountain range should be below the curvature. This actually looks like it's much lower. Does it say distance? I wonder where this is from. That looks really low. Doesn't say his viewer's height. Anyway, but there's lots you can go find. There's groups at Flickr of Canigale and all that fun stuff. So, what's this one? Oh, not anything else there. And I believe that's it. That's all I have for you. Oh, so I was talking earlier about the Book and the Snake. Just check that out. Because this guy, Bill Nelson, is he the current head of the space? I don't know if he's the current head of the space consortium or whatever, the group, the Senate that gives money for space travel. And of course, he's been to space. He's an astronaut or a former astronaut. They sent him up there. And this guy's just scary looking to me. But who knows? Could be a great guy, I'm sure. So, can't see him there. Anyway, he's part of the Book and the Snake, whatever that is. Secret Society. Here's some pictures of him. Let's see here. There you go. Yep. Looks like a nice guy. Yep. Yeah, it looks great. Truth teller. So he looks like to me. Truth teller indeed. Yep, right here. Looks like a truth teller to me. So let's take guns out of hands of everybody because they'll stop shooting up the schools in Florida. And let's give all the money to space because they've done so much for humanity as it is. Think of all the things that we have because of space travel. Got condos on the moon and, you know, apartment complexes on Mars. So I say give them more money. Whatever they're asking for, double it. That's what I would do. In fact, triple it. Let's give them triple. Because they get to wear these blue suits and hold planes, little shuttle planes. So I don't see any problem with that. $52 million a day? I mean, they're definitely spending that well. I mean, we got all those shuttles to show for it, right? Shuttles? Wait, where did those go? They must be like a hangar somewhere or something, because for $52 million a day, clearly we should be flying to space in the shuttle that we built. And launching off in the Saturn V to go to the moon. I'm sure we got that coming up soon, don't we? Mars, we should be able to go to Mars by now. $52 million a day times 50 years. I'm pretty sure we should have people on Mars. Should have a whole colony on Mars because we could get hit by an asteroid at any time. Is this Dr. James Gates? Oh. I was like, what is he doing on there? Anyway, yeah, nice guy. If you happen to see him, tell him I said hi. And he is part of this group, the Book and Snake. Let me make sure I show you so you don't say I'm lying about that. It actually says it in his Wikipedia. They're not trying to hide it. Gosh bless it. Where's his Wikipedia? Here we go. So you'll see down here, Nelson attended University of Florida, was a member of Florida Blue Key Beta Theta Pi social fraternity, transferred to Yale, where he was a member of the Book and Snake Secret Society. So, Book and Snake. It's a cool name. I wish I was part of that society. It'd be really cool. Part of a fraternity. Lie to people. It's cool. Book and Snake. Society of Book and Snake incorporated as the Stone Trust Corporation. Fourth oldest secret society at Yale. First society to induct women. Book and Snake was founded at the Sheffield Scientific School in 1863. 3-year society bearing the Greek letters Sigma Delta Chi. As other chef societies, it was once residential and maintained a separate residential cloister at One Hill House. A bunch of nonsense. Let's see who those notable members. Bob Woodward Henry Gates Jr., Porter Goss, Les Aspin, never heard of these people, Nicholas Brady, former Secretary of the Treasury. Looks like a bunch of nobodies, really. But anyway, check into that, because I do think he's either in charge now or was in charge of who gets money for space. And, he wants money for space because he went there. And we're doing so many great things in space. So I don't think you can really argue with it. I would, like I said, give him more money. I'm thinking quadruple now. Quadruple it. Give him quadruple. I think with $200 million a day, the amazing things that they could do would be endless. I will put in one request if we give him quadruple. I figure with $200 million a day, is it possible, please, NASA, just because like every penny that you've ever gotten, every shuttle you ever built, every hangar, every Saturn V, every astronaut suit, all the stupid pipes and wires on the outside of the ISS, the entire ISS, since that all came from taxpayers, the United States citizens, I was wondering if you might be able to, just if you could take a second, I know you got better things to do and you're really busy. Can you just possibly, while you're out in space, could you take like a 24-hour video of the Earth? Like 24/7, like you're already there doing the orbit, and I know it's a lot of important science going on. You're growing plants and lettuce. So I'm just asking, like, if you take like just a little bit of time to put a camera, you can buy them at stores. They're like it's like a camera. It's got a lens, and usually you can like plug them into power so that they record continuously for a certain amount of time. And if you put that on the outside of the craft that's been in orbit for 18 years, and then you get one of those cameras, they're really rare, but they have automatic focus. So the camera will change based on what it's looking at. Like if it's looking at a really bright thing, then it will just show that. But if you're looking at something really dark, then it will pick up the other bright items in the far off sky, like the stars that you either can or can't see in space. I'm still confused about that one. But while you're up there, I just strap that camera to the side. And if you can't do that, well, there's these night cameras. In fact, I can even show you which one. There's a great one that just sold at Kickstarter, but I know they're going to start giving these out pretty soon, or not giving them out, but selling them. And it's not too expensive, I don't think, for you, NASA. You've got plenty of money, I'm pretty sure. So let's see, Aurora here. The first day-night camera with true nightlight. This thing is awesome. And if you check it out, you'll see here this is at night and this is during the day. I'm sorry, this is during at night with the camera. So imagine if you were to see this is at night. So I can understand you might see this when the Earth goes by at night, but wouldn't it be better if we could see this? And I think that it's not very expensive. I think that they were selling them for like $800. Yeah, so you can pledge $2,000, you get 5 of them. So that's even better. For 5 of them, you get 5 of these cameras. Plug them into power, record 24 hours a day. That's $2,000. Pretty cheap. I would have to do the math on that, but let's see here. If you have 52 million a day, and then you minus 2,000, it's going to be a pretty big chunk. It's going to leave you 51,998,000 for that day. Okay, because these cameras, you don't have to buy like one a day or anything. You buy them once, and you can use it for like a year, 2 years, 3 years. I don't know. I'm not going to make any claims about their longevity. But for one day, rather than get 52 million, you'll get 51,998,000, which is more than 99% of the people of this world will ever make in their lifetimes. But you'll get that just for one day if instead of spending it on dressing your astronauts up like Jedis or something stupid, you could spend it on these cameras. And then what you could do is strap those to the already in orbit ISS, plug them into a power source, because you got all that power up there. I've seen pictures of your laptop laboratory up there. So plug it in, and then film the Earth 24 hours a day. So you don't have to use the excuse anymore of like, oh, well, it's nighttime on Earth and we lose connectivity and we can't see because it's the bright Earth and the aperture. And well, that doesn't matter now because you got cameras like this coming out. I thought you were ahead of us in technology, but I guess maybe we have to inform you of technology as it comes out so that you can employ it on your space rocket shuttle system. And then we can actually see, cool. And you can even take a camera and turn it the other way. Imagine if you did that and we got to see all the stars in the Milky Way and the Magellanic Clouds. You could show us all that. Or you can continue providing us with, let's go to Ustream, ISS, and see what you've got showing there now. Or you can continue showing us this, because this is the kind of quality that I expect from a company that gets $52 million a day of taxpayers' money. I would reward them with this too. Here you go, Earth losers. I'll give you this. Is that little red dot on the my screen? Oh, you probably can't see it. It's on my screen. Is that on my screen or what is going on here? I don't know if you can see this little red dot. I think it's on my. It's not on my screen. Wait, is it going on my mouse or not? Hold on, I gotta get closer. That's weird. I've never seen that, whatever that is. Anyway, I mean, you can give this to people, or you can basically continue to provide us with crap, or give it. Oops, I was looking at that. Where's this thing? Not that thing. I don't know where the other channels are. I was going to look at the other channel. But, you know, put that night camera on the Earth, and then when it gets dark, we don't have to see. Let's see, where's this one? ISS idea. Oh, it's on a pop-out. That's why. Let's try this one. Thank you. There we go. So, you know, we don't have to see these views and, you know, the night views, which just show nothing. It's pretty upsetting. Like this. So imagine you get one of those night cameras, and instead of showing us this, oh, okay. That's great timing. I didn't plan that. That just was courtesy of old NASA. High definition Earth viewing experiment is either switching cameras, because again, we have to switch cameras by turning them off first. Oh, there we go. They switched cameras. Thank goodness they had time to turn it off first. You know, this is all well and dandy, but imagine what that night view camera would look like. Here. We're supposed to believe that this is this shitty camera you have. Guess it just can't. Can't quite pick up any light. Oh, here we go. Oh, man. I want to see that. Oh, that was a sunrise. So, yeah, it'd be cool if we could see all these stars here with the night view camera, and what's on the Earth with the night view camera. So I'd say check it out. Go to Kickstarter. Their campaign has ended, but I think you can probably find out. You're NASA, so you got 52 million. Maybe give them $1 million for like 10 of them. I don't know, idea. And then show them to us, because, you know, since you're out there, it would be really cool. And maybe take a picture of the Earth from further distance than, you know, 100,000 feet. That'd be cool too. So anyway, that's just my request for NASA, and I would appreciate it because I pay taxes and it is mandatory. I don't get a choice. If I got a choice, I wouldn't care. You know, I don't mind people out there asking for money for donations because people have a choice. It's like, would you like to donate to this person? I would rather not. All right, then don't. Easy. Yeah, would you like to donate to that person? Nah, I don't really like what they're doing. Okay, good, don't. Cool. That was easy. If it was like that, Jaron, do you want to donate to NASA? Nah, I think they're lying to people. Nah, I don't think that I want to give them anything. I'd rather they give them nothing. Then that would be cool with me. If people wanted to believe in Spaceland, they can believe that all they want. They can believe there's planets in the sun. This sun that's about to pop up here, 93 million miles away. Because that makes sense. And the sun is burning, even though there's no oxygen in space. It's just burning. And all that heat travels through nothing. Just like there's no sound in space, because sound can't travel without a medium to travel in. Light is not like that. Light can travel through nothingness because it's light. So, all makes sense. And this Earth is like the one we saw before. It's hanging in space, just here hanging. This is nice. I like these reflections. Look like a hexagon to me. Like a hexagon sun. That's weird. Very weird. Little reflections. So anyway, check that out. And check out Bill Nelson and all that fun stuff. And I've talked for too long, and I've got to go see how my wife's doing. She has been sick. And at least she's not throwing up anymore. let's hope that that's not continued. So anyway, yeah, check out all this stuff, and NASA, please, you can help us out a little, would you? Stop being so inept and basically, what's that word? Worthless. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So anyway, guys, it's been fun, and till next time, be kind, don't lie, and remember to do your own research. Don't forget that, because if you do, you'll never again believe what you've been taught, and that is the truth. Till next time, guys, this has been Jeranism. Peace!